I might need me some ventilation, a little vacation, Houston fornication, mind redefined, new renovations, space cool, back out of the space station, float around town, do that on the daily. I'm supposed to feel safe, 12, live adjacent. Yeah, crib built like a prison where that bitch is gated. Yeah, spending all my time up there getting faded. Yeah, handing out the E to the entertainment. Yeah, you know on this side it's popping and it's dangerous. Riding through the clouds, we going through the vapors. I'm just trying to get the paper, staying out the papers. It ain't easily done, it ain't easy. Pop a sale like it's Chris, make it look breezy. Wedding bands on my fists, it is freezing. Throw the bands, get a kiss, then she leave me. I just want the piece, still Lambo over Mercedes. Just put the Astro World playground to play with my baby. Had a few pop singles, anyone can be your mama. Had some real conversations with my nigga Bill about Congress. We at the fest, come and link per request. Send a pin, drop it in GPS. Seeing flashes, oh no, that's my neck. I've been living paranoid, watch your step. Ain't never freeing up and never let y'all, man. We always forget, but don't forget easily. Cut my phone off so they can never reach me. Life is just a maze going through my phases. I might need me some ventilation, a little vacation, Houston fornication, mind redefined, new renovations. Space cool, back out of the space station. If it rides on the east, land on the west, we gon' make that shit pop, bust it for a check. Call the plays, link the squad, we gon' make it cash. Yeah, nobody can press me but the press. Nobody can check me when it's chest. Oh, not for real. They come in at my neck like Gillette. I'm on the catch, that's the butterfly effect. Yeah. I've been locked in for so long, I done got dressed. Took the girl off the network, then up the net. Iced out watches for the game, protect the set. Had to move up off my block, it took finesse. Yeah, just keep dropping them bombs, you should probably say your breath. Yeah, they gon' play the steal, why you tryna fuck the flex? Yeah, I'm a dog's in my wheel, they gon' ride through to the death. Yeah, elevator up the hill, we ain't never take the steps. Ain't never freeing up and never let y'all, man. We always forget, but don't forget easily. Cut my phone off so they can never reach me. Life is just a maze going through my phases. I might need me some ventilation, a little vacation, Houston fornication, mind redefined, new renovations. Space cool, back out of the space station. If it rides on the east, land on the west, we gon' make that shit pop, bust it for a check. Call the plays, link the squad, we gon' make it cash.
Yeah. Link Up TV behind bars. Big up man like Rashid, Joey, Tedas. Yeah. Shout out Gigs for setting the ting, SM1, OVO. Yeah. Look. You know how the pagan chit-chat goes. I like R's and V's and O's. I don't really play no tic-tac-toe. Been with chubs through highs and lows. We seen man last night, they froze. Wasn't no cameras, wasn't no pose. Just like that one time at Cella. Good thing man weren't pulling out phones. Stay in big 6'6" with woes. Man start dissing and doing repos. They do anything except rolls. Still can't see them after it snows. I don't have time for the waste man jokes. Personal thing if I'm getting up close. Loyal to Oaks, I've taken an O. Versace Hotel and I'm taking the robes. Seen them in person, I'm seeing a ghost. They told me relax as they're taking control. Take all that shit up with P and his bro. I wish you the best, let me know how it goes. Wanna be free and I wanna let go. We came around and you showed us the most. I know so much shit that I cannot expose. I keep it inside and I laugh on my own. Got all the tea and I'm hotting it up. I need a shade mansion, no room's not enough. You're dropping some shit, but that shit was a bust. They got no direction, they're following us. I come from a city that they never touch. Your man is a goofy and he could get brushed. I can't name a rapper or a girl that I trust. I dream about turning these youths into dust. Yeah. Yeah. Big Scorpion, out now. Yeah. Look. You know how the pagan chit-chat goes. I like R's and V's and O's. I don't really play no tic-tac-toe. Been with rocks through highs and lows. We seen man last night, they froze. Wasn't no cameras, wasn't no pose. Just like that one time at Noble. Good thing, man, we're pulling out phones. Think you know me, that's not true. We got ties in West End too. She came over and she got slew. Throwing up 6 like man had flu. I got way too big off views. Back to the basics, I won't lose. They wanna link when they got no tunes. They too worried about selling out shoes. I don't give a fuck about jeans or crap. Or going to Milan or going to the Met. I just wanna make these songs for the set. I just wanna load that and let that wet. I got so much things in the stash. Fold up anyone done that clash. Got no sense like Jizz and shh. Big and bad like lead and shh. Can't do love cause they get too attached. Phone get broke and whip get scratched. I'ma just take my knots and cash. They can never tie me down, that's facts. All that bark but we know he's a cat. I don't really like going tit for tat. I'ma just come like tat tat tat. I'ma just end that there, that's that. Yeah, Link Up TV, Drizzy Drake, Madas.
Love, sports, hip-hop. What's up, family? Man, it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time. Welcome to Love, Sports, and Hip-Hop. Got something new, got something fresh, but, you know, it's still reminiscent of the good stuff that we've been used to when it comes to this network and when it comes to yours truly, Geraldines. Got a lot to talk about, got a lot to get into tonight, and I'm just so happy, so blessed that you guys are listening to Love, Sports, and Hip-Hop Radio. If you have never, ever heard this show before, if you don't know who Geraldines is, know nothing about it, you in for a treat tonight. We're talking a little bit of everything. A little bit of politics, you know, a lot of hip-hop. Hip-hop has had a phenomenal year this year. We'll get into that. This is one of the best years in hip-hop in a long time. We'll get into that tonight. LeBron James, the IPromise school, phenomenal, right? Got some interesting information concerning that. Want to kind of make sure that you're aware of all of the intimate details concerning the school. Definitely want to applaud that brother for getting behind educating our young folk. But we'll talk about it. We'll get into it tonight on today's. I'm just kind of switching it up. I guess if you're in different parts of the world, it might be today. We are a global show, by the way. Shout out to everybody listening to us all around the world. But LeBron James, kudos to that brother for doing a really big, good thing for the youth, where he comes from. NFL back. We'll talk kneel or not to kneel. It's going to be a part of the whole conversation for the entire year. The media will not let it go, especially, I have to do this because this is how we label different elements, right? The liberal media won't let it go. Not saying I don't have liberal thoughts. I'm not saying I'm against liberal thinking. Just letting you know who's responsible for it. The conservative right, the ultra-conservative right won't let it go neither. Donald Trump won't let it go. Rush Limbaugh won't let it go. We'll talk about it on tonight's episode of Love, Sports, and Hip-Hop Radio. What else we got on tap for tonight, man? I told y'all already, hip-hop crazy. NBA schedule released. So we know the Christmas games, all the national games. We'll talk about the NBA as, yes, we are around the corner from the NBA being back on television. LeBron James in L.A. Did a photo shoot this week. Had on some Kobe Bryant shoes. I don't know what to kind of read in all that, but, he wore some Kobe Bryant shoes for all his work. So we'll talk about that. Donald Trump won't keep his damn mouth shut. We'll talk about that, of course. Terrell Owens Hall of Fame speech. The Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago. Did get a chance to come and give you guys my opinion on his speech. Ray Lewis, Randy Moss, he had a nice little, gesture, to some of the senseless killing of unarmed black men, black folk. His tie, if you missed it, we'll talk about it on today's show. And I've seen a bunch of movies over the last few weeks. The summer has been pretty decent for movies. Saw Equalizer 2, saw the Mission Impossible thing. I saw that. Of course, I saw The Avengers. That's already on, Blu-ray or whatever, or at least it's available on digital, and I have it. My kids have watched it a bunch of times, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll get into it. The show moves around. We talk about a lot. Of course, you're always welcome to join the conversation, to have a little fun with us over here on Love, Sports, and Hip-Hop by doing this. Go to LSHHradio.com. Subscribe to our Spreaker feed. They are the official sponsor of our chat room, where the lovely, incredible, incomparable Miss Neek is awaiting. She's in the booth. She's already there. I told her I was coming on at 9 tonight. I said, look, it's on. Love Sports Hip Hop Radio debuting tonight. We getting it in. She's in the building. Chuck, present, listening to Love Sports Hip Hop Radio. He's in the building. So if you want to check in, you want to have comments added into today's show, go ahead and come into the chat room. We're going to take good care of you. The music is going to be all over the place tonight. It's all over the globe. We are a global show, so we're going to show love to global hip-hop. Hip-hop has had a phenomenal year. Drake, 5 weeks atop the Billboard 200. Number one album in the country for 5 weeks until Travis Scott's Astroworld. Congratulations to Houston's own Travis Scott. The album is phenomenal. I love it. And I keep saying this like every other couple of weeks. I'm like, album of the year. This is legitimately album of the year material. It's a phenomenal piece of work. If you haven't heard it, check it out. If you ain't heard it by now, something wrong. But check it out. I do love the album. The end of the year show is going to be pretty fun because we're going to have a lot to debate about who's got the album of the year. J-Rock, phenomenal album. Of course, Drake, Scorpion, 1 billion listens in 1 week. Astroworld comes out and, dethrones Drake's album from the top of the charts. It's been a really, really, really good year. And I ain't mentioned J. Cole yet. Of course, you had Kanye album. I guess, I got to mention Pusha T's album, whatever. I ain't really feeling it. I thought, it's whatever. But it's been a very, very good year for hip-hop, man. So we'll continue to be blessed as we still should be awaiting a project from Lil Wayne. I'm hearing rumors that Eminem could be dropping a project. Of course, you had some real strong underground projects, Royce da 5'9". It's just crazy this year. I'm also hearing a little bit that we might get a little something, and I doubt it, but I am hearing that we might get a little sneak peek of something from Kendrick a little earlier than what we're used to. So just be on the lookout for that. Love Sports and Hip Hop, Facebook page. Let me tell you how to get to it. This way you can keep up to date with everything that we're doing. Facebook.com/Love Sports Hip Hop. I'm on Twitter and on IG at JAY or Leans. I don't want to hold back. I missed y'all. I really want to get into tonight's show. I got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to get off my chest. It's been a minute. And you're going to have to get your boy coming at you like this. So we're going to have to get the usual suspects and let them know, hey, look, Jay comes on at a different time. It's Saturday nights. Coming at you like OVO Sound Radio. And speaking of OVO Sound Radio, I don't know if you guys have heard Nicki Minaj's album. I didn't really give it too much of a play. Being honest, I ain't really heard it. I know I ain't supposed to tell y'all that. Y'all like, Jay, you supposed to be on it and give us some. I just really ain't really feeling Nicki's energy right now. I don't know what it's about. Just ain't really feeling it, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the homie Phil. Shouts out to the homie LU. That's what we'll be coming at y'all with a new episode of Man Run It real soon. I got a lot of feedback on that show. I want to salute everybody for showing us love. We will be coming back with another episode of that. Should be fun. Stay tuned for that. Before the night show is over, I will let you know when's the next Love Sports Hip Hop Radio show. So I got a lot of opinions. Be ready. Got a couple of interesting articles I want to read to you as well. So I got you tonight. It's going to be fun. Where do we go from here? I got music set up. My energy changes. Y'all know how that goes through the show sometimes. We kind of have a vibe where there are moments when I'll flip something to say, you know what, now let's do this time around. Got a nice little show all produced and ready for you. Mission Impossible, real quick. Which was better? Mission Impossible or Equalizer? Mission Impossible was long. It was long-winded. I did enjoy the Equalizer too. Denzel Karate Game was sick. Thought it was dope. I was impressed. He was killing a lot of people at a very fast rate. He was. I also saw the Rock movie. What was that? The movie where he's kind of the whole script kind of took a little bit from the Die Hard franchise with Bruce Willis. He's an amputee, and they go into this building, and he's the one who kind of did the security check for this building, and it's a big ass just death trap. He's got to get in there and save his family. I saw that. That was probably the weakest movie this summer. And I had so much hope for it. I had so much Skyscraper, I think the name of the movie was. I had a lot of hope for that movie. I'm like, damn, how can we drop the ball? How can we drop the ball? Like, I was really, really impressed with the trailer. And you know how Hollywood can do sometimes. They can sell you a trailer and you be like, oh, yeah, man, I got to go on and get this in my life. And then you go, you try to turn up with it and, you go sit down and you watch it. And I'm like, damn, the popcorn was better than the movie. The popcorn was better than the movie. So, right now, fairly, do we count The Avengers as a movie of the summer? I think you have to, probably, right? I probably would have that at number 1 if I give my quick top 3. I probably would lean towards the Mission Impossible movie at number 2 and then Equalizer 2 at number 3. That's probably my quick top 3 movies of the summer thus far. There's a few other movies that I'll be checking out. Chuck is already giving us a movie that we should be listening to or watching. What is it? Black Klansman, I believe it's called. I've actually heard a lot of good things about that particular piece. And we'll be checking it out. Shout out to Big L, man. Shout out to Big L. He's in the building. Shout out to BS3 as they found me. They're like, damn, Jay, where you been at, man? Love Sports Hip Hop Radio, episode 1. This is how I'm going to come at y'all, man. I got a lot to get off the chest. We'll enjoy it tonight. Please make sure that any thoughts that you may have, even if they're against the thoughts of Jay, it's okay. I welcome all of that. You're welcome to come on and share your thoughts with me. Y'all know that. I show respect and love to everybody. Then tell your people, man, send some messages out there. Say, look, tonight's going to be, you're going to like it, especially with the music I got lined up for you tonight. Speaking of music, I'll be lying to y'all if I told y'all that I was really up on this chick. But I will be honest. I heard something from her, a freestyle, and was impressed enough to go and do some more research on this young lady. And after doing some research on her, I said, damn, the music is dope. I think it's real fly. Stefflon Don, Senseless, Love Sports and Hip Hop Radio. It's your boy, Terrell. Look, tell somebody we on. I'm not going nowhere. I love y'all. You don't want to miss it. I promise you don't.
No for do your thing. Head down, mash up, girl, you know for do your thing. You know take back charge. No for do your thing. Head down, mash up, girl, you know for do your thing. You know take back charge.
Oh, your friend just a try, watch me style, and them on me a tick. Me know me get spoiled, oh, you mean my thing concrete. 5 minutes 4, 7 days of the week. Me, them coulda never be pretty from me head, shoulder, and me neck. Any picture me post them, post up a pray, y'all this. Get the damn berry, y'all this. And get sent to the cemetery, money for me mind, pussy pink like hop. Any man me a fuck off, a beg me no stop. Ring for me finger, ball me and Pamela. When done touch road, every girl face drop. Number 1 in a good look book. Them mad cash here, and I'm than a look good. Authentic, nothing for me body ever book. 5 minus 4 till a girl me no show. Me no friendly girl way off flop. If a girl big friend, them me have to pray that. If them want war, no shot and lick it up. Me no play like some USA girl, you know that.
No for do your thing. Head down, mash up, girl, you know for do your thing. You know take back charge. No for do your thing. Head down, mash up, girl, you know for do your thing. You know take back charge.
Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get aggressive. Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get senseless. Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get aggressive. Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get senseless.
With Matty, every other tip just a lick when me slap it. Yeah, fear of the buck if you think say me drop it. Money conversation on me at the topic. She afraid to me I go take spot. Watch a man before me take that. Me no come for play that girl you must mad. Me too bad. Ask about me sense. Play a game if them ever play with me name. It's a shame. Cause them mother I go cry in a vein in a rain. You say the last girl you this I know this bloodline line up. If you this them I switch. What you think? 357 cut your life in a half. Like wood meat and up shift you know me not soft. Me a real done, gotta. Me like y'all like grabber.
Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get aggressive. Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get senseless. Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get aggressive. Look how you make me feel. Look how you make me get senseless.
No for do your thing. Head down, mash up, girl, you know
this tune, press this.
What else?
Baby, bash, you don't know. Anyway, you got me, I want to. About him and me, a fight, you go to. Other baby, bash, you don't know. Anyway, you got me, I want to. About him and me, a fight, you go to.
I'm in love with your body. Boy, you know what I like. I can't wait to be with you tonight. I'm in love with your body.
What else? I'm gonna be gone, baby. Yeah, we're feeling me vibe. Although you will brand, need you by my side. So don't be shy, baby. Brother, that man, Jenny, but we didn't copy me from me. Some for with you when I want who's a me a guy, baby. I can see you feeling me. Send me pen, I would Jimmy D. My trouble, let until me can reply, baby. I promise on my honor, baby girl, I wanna bring you to Ghana for summer. Me with me, no baby, I say, baby, me need my chocolate con come on. On the Panyasika, you know I got what you need. I'm ready to give it to you, will you my customer? Happy with the how, but what didn't I bring me cool? Me need dying, but you bet chocolate with one corner. Yeah, what pen I make a rock in your body for sure. I no go promise anything, me, I just wanna let you know, girl, copy that.
I'm in love with your body.
Baby girl, so we're feeling the vibe. Think I know we'll take you for a ride.
You know what I like.
How do you do? You know what I like, baby.
I can't wait to be with you tonight.
Watch you move on with your size. Baby, look into my
I'm
eyes.
in love with your body.
Yeah, this is what kind of vibe. What else? Something in the phone, baby.
Other baby, can't even mouth.
Come in, bet you say.
Baby, bash, you don't
What
know.
up, brand? I bet you.
Anyway, you got me, I want to.
Then they give me cheer.
About him and me, a fight, you go to.
One, I bet
Other
you.
baby, can't even mouth. Baby, bash, you don't know. Anyway, you got me, I want to. About him and me, a fight, you go to.
I got the wave, I got the juice. Boy, come sip on it, yeah. I know you like it, I know you want it for real. Tima Pea, show my wale, show my bami dele, boy, copy that. I'm in love with your life. Boy, you know what I like. I can't wait to be with you tonight. I'm in love with your life. So come give it to me.
Other baby, can't even mouth. Baby, bash, you don't know. Anyway, you got me, I want to. About him and me, a fight, you go to. Other baby, can't even mouth. Baby, bash, you don't know. Anyway, you got me, I want to. About him and me, a fight, you go to.
Love, sports, hip hop. You know, I ain't trying to stunt, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? The music that your boy go get for y'all be flamed up. I can't even front. If you don't know about it, I be putting you on game to it, and this time I'm gonna put you on game. Okay, listen to me. I'm gonna take care of you. Cause some of y'all like, Jay, wait a minute. Who was that? How can I get that? What's up with all of the music? I got something for you. Give me an hour, okay, after the show, and I'm going to share a playlist with you. And you're going to have all of the artists of tonight's show and all of that good stuff, okay? So I ain't going to have you going looking for who it is just yet, okay? But do know I got you. It's flamed up tonight. It's Love Sports Hip Hop Radio. We in it. Now, let's get right to the show. I got an interesting opinion about a particular guy who I actually disagree with his stance, okay? But I want to let you hear from him first, just in case you haven't heard from him. He is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. His name is Dak Prescott. A few weeks ago, somebody asked him, hey, Dak, what do you think about all this kneeling stuff during the national anthem? And Dak had a particular response. And then people responded back to Dak. And Dak has been painted in a mural, being portrayed to be in a sunken place. It is what it is. Everybody's got an opinion. We're going to figure this thing out with social media and people actually thinking their way through conversations of disagreement. But before I get into my stance, tell you what I think. And if you don't know how to get into this chat room so I can hear what you think, go to LSHHradio.com. subscribe to the Spreaker Network, like the show, come on in. We got good people there. The tribe is there. The nation is present. They're here tonight. But without further ado, you never let a man just speak for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to let the guy who actually has the opinion speak for himself. A lot of us don't like to hear each other out. We don't care to try to listen to somebody if they don't agree with us. But that's not how it works here on Love Sports and Hip Hop. I give fair, space to people who I disagree with. Dak Prescott.
If a player protests, he won't be a Dallas Cowboy. When you hear that, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I don't necessarily listen to it. It has no effect to me because I do exactly what I'm doing and what I've said and what I stand by, whether I was wearing the star or not, whether I was playing for Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, or any other owner. I believe in what I believe in, and that's that.
Is that what is that in terms of the anthem? Does that mean that
you
I'm never protest?
No, I never protest. I never protest during the anthem, and I don't think that's the time or the venue to do so. The game of football has always brought me such a peace, and I think it does the same for a lot of people. A lot of people playing the game, a lot of people watching the game, a lot of people that have any impact of the game. So when you bring such a controversy to the stadium, to the field, to the game, it takes away. It takes away from that. It takes away from the joy and to the love that football brings a lot of people. And so for me, I'm all about making a change and making a difference. And I think this whole kneeling and all that was all about just raising awareness, and the fact that we're still talking about social injustice years later. I think we've got to that point. I think we've proved and we know that there's social injustice. So I'm up for taking a next step, that whatever that step may be, for action and not just kneeling. I've always believed standing up for what I believe in, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
So you can respect why some players might still think that's the proper.
Now, Prescott says he's certainly not oblivious.
Dak Prescott, who, if I'm fair to his comments, okay, concerning his whole kneel or not to kneel thing, I thought he did a fair job, basically saying, hey, this is my stance. I particularly, think that we should stand for the anthem. I don't think the anthem is the place that we should be protesting, okay? However, there's some injustices that all of us, or some of us, are aware of. I think we're talking about these social injustices, and at this point, we need to take it to the next level of action to see some results. Now, there are things in his statement that I agree with. I'm not one for telling somebody when it's appropriate to protest. That's something that I'm not really cool with. I understand he was asked. I understand he kind of said, hey, this is my opinion, so it's a little different here. He's not forcing his beliefs on anybody else. He was asked. He's the quarterback of, one of the top 10 franchises in all of sports, even though they haven't won a damn thing since 1996, 1995. That Dallas Cowboys star still carries a lot of weight. He was asked. He's the starting quarterback of that team, America's team, owned by Jerry Jones. Speaking of Jerry Jones, I'll bring you some comments from him in a few minutes. He responded and said, hey, you heard it. I'm going to paraphrase it. I get it. I'm not going to do it. I don't think there's a need to do it for myself. We brought awareness to it. It's time to move on. Football's the place where people come to enjoy, and I'm all about making a difference, but, football's the place where you kind of disconnect from all of those things and kind of just relax. And that's why I disagree with that. I think he kind of maybe missed the point on some level of why the protests needed to happen on the platform it happened on. As the NFL is that place of escape from reality, and reality is personal, believe it or not. Reality that you experience may not be the reality that somebody else experiences. And so sometimes you need to be shook up and awakened to a greater reality, okay? And I think that this whole thing with the kneel and the protest that a lot of these young men are involved with in the NFL is their way of saying, hey, we feel you. We're with you. We're playing for you, but we understand the plight of normal, everyday people of color, black folk, citizens of this country, and their quest to be treated like human beings. by law enforcement, by the judicial system, basically by almost every single institution of service in this country. I don't even know if the healthcare industry, I can tell you they don't. The banking industry, I don't know if there's an industry in this country that really values and treats black folk as equal. You know, are they egregious in the way that they conduct business? Are they forwardly racist and discriminatory in some of their practices? Some yay, some nay. But we have a problem in this country, and until we want to honestly discuss it, and then from discussion, you need to build pathway to answers and results. And the NFL got themselves in this position. And I can tell you how they got themselves in this position. When the NFL decided to make a big deal of other particular social causes, whether it was the domestic violence issue, whether it was homosexuality, whether it was to, wear pink during the month of breast cancer awareness, whether it was to put on the army fatigue during the month of November, I believe. If not November, October. If I got it wrong, I apologize. But the NFL has chosen to become the league of community responsibility. And since they did that, you can't say that we're not going to honor the issues that our business partners, these NFL players, are saying to them is paramount. It's very important. So the NFL has nobody to blame but themselves. In their quest for more eyes, for more viewership, to be the league of all people all around the world, when there's an injustice now, you have to play like the United States and be involved in some way, somehow. I don't necessarily like that. There's a side of me that I don't like, morality coming from businesses. I don't like that. But I understand the importance of our athletes standing up for those who can't stand for themselves at times, who don't have that same platform. I want to go to the chat room. I want to make sure that everybody here is represented. Again, you want to get into this chat, LSHHradio.com. BS3, who has a phenomenal show, I believe airs a few times during the week and on Saturdays. If you don't mind, BS3, please drop the times in which your show airs. I'll definitely make sure that the audience is aware of such. He comments and says, Dak is active in the community, but there's really not the perfect time or place to protest. He's absolutely correct. I agree with that. That was the part of his statement in which I had an issue with. I'm not going to degrade the brother, though. I don't think that's fair. We need to be cautious of that. I think every intelligent opinion that start out is worth an honest reply. And what I mean by honest reply is good-natured, okay? Good-natured in the way that you perceive somebody else's opinion. Sometimes we can be so closed up and somebody says something that we don't necessarily agree with, we immediately turn it off and then, we become a little belligerent towards folks. That's the way of our society and this new social media wave of thought that everybody's operating in, wanting to get the likes, wanting to be the guy that everybody or the gal that everybody sees go viral. Everybody wants the 1 million followers on IG. I get it. But we should be patient. We should be well thought out. And I think that there's room for people who have a difference of opinion when their expressions seem to be coming from an honest place, a good place. BS3 can attest, he's in the Dallas community, that Dak Prescott is active in that community in helping folks who are underprivileged. So he has the right to have an opinion, ladies and gentlemen. He has the right to have one that you may not totally agree with. Big L says, Dak is kissing Daddy Jerry ass the Cowboys way. Maybe. Dak says, Big L, says, if I grew up with my white mama like Dak, I agree with him, maybe. If I grew up, he edits. As Big L is he's not going to have a filter. He's going to tell you what he thinks. And I appreciate the brother for that. He's just flat out, hey, look, that's some bullshit. He on trying to make the plantation owner feel happy. And he's checking and jiving for the check. And I ain't feeling it. Everybody has a right to an opinion. Miss Neat The incomparable, a.k.a. Gifted, says protests by design are meant to disrupt. Who cares if you're comfortable with it? Exactly. I agree with that totally. It's not about you feeling comfortable with the protests. It's about gaining the attention that's necessary. And then at some point through the protests, hopefully if you want us to stop, you'll begin to take the issue that we're protesting against seriously enough to be a part of the solution, to change it. So we could be right on the cusp, maybe, of finding a solution that will help more folk. How will it be the end all, be all? Probably not. We got a war zone in Chicago. Like, Chicago's a complete war zone right now. 60 some odd people shot last week. 12 murders, and I believe this happened on the weekend. So we got a lot of issues within our urban cities in this country. And, of course, the NFL operates a team in the majority of these metropolitan areas. Baltimore, Chicago, New Orleans, Atlanta, L.A., D.C. The NFL is there. So as a billion-dollar, soon-to-be trillion-dollar entity who markets its business partners, and notice, I am saying that the NFL players are their business partners. 90% of those, 80% of those guys, between 80 and 90% of those players are African-American. Then the issues of the black community should be paramount, and the NFL should be making sure that they're on the front line at trying to resolve these issues. Big L adds, preach, Miss Neat, colonizers would have gave us rights if we wouldn't have gave us rights if we stayed quiet. Maybe not. He's right. Got to make things a little uncomfortable. Got to make this thing a part of everyday conversation. And it is now a part of everyday conversation. Jerry Jones asked about his star quarterback. Simply stated, he's so proud of Dak Prescott's stance on the anthem protests. I'm so proud of him. Just proud of him in the way that he leads the team, Jones said, for not letting it mess with their practices. Prescott expanded further on his point by suggesting that more needs to be done to curtail social injustice than just kneeling during the anthem. Okay, this is the part where we, let's kind of dig into his comments here and see what where we're gonna go with this thing. So for me, I'm all about making a change, making a difference, and I think this whole kneeling and all that was just about raising awareness. And I did just play this for you guys, so they just kind of expanded upon his thought. Where he is right, more needs to be done, but we do not need these guys to stop doing what they're doing at the same time. Like, this is working. It's working. It's a part of everyday conversation. It's working. That's the thing that people don't want to admit. They want to admit that it's a nuisance. They're uncomfortable with it. And I don't understand why somebody kneeling during the national anthem bothers you so much. In a country where we are supposed to respect the freedoms and liberties of every individual, the religion, the sexual identities, all of these things that we say that we want to respect, a person's way of life. And then these guys decide to take a kneel during the national anthem, in which, check this out, if you go to any NFL stadium during the national anthem, they don't stop serving beer. They're going to sell beer during the national anthem. They're going to continue to make your nachos. People are still walking. I'm a season ticket holder. I know. You've probably gone to a few games yourself. You've seen it. People are active. People are moving around. People are still walking to their seat. I've never stopped. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the national anthem, but a lot details a person's feeling about their country. And with the current behavior of the guy that we have in office, forget his politics, just the way that he acts. I'm not talking about his politics, the particular stance on conservative, policies. That's not what I'm arguing here. I'm talking strictly his professional decorum. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. How could you be proud of electing a commander-in-chief that operates and acts the way this guy acts? Not only is he at war with the NFL players, a league that's 80 to 85%, 90% black. He's also chosen to pick with the biggest star in the NBA, that's LeBron James. The guy is trying to do something good, trying to present an image of valuing education, and we have him under attack by a lot of people, preferably those who sit, who align themselves with strong conservative values. And here's the deal. People are like, well, Jay, they didn't really criticize him. Well, yeah, I've read a lot of things, actually, concerning LeBron's school. Some of the kidding and the joking about him not going to college and, him not being the most intelligent guy, and he probably isn't really footing the bill for the school. No matter what the reality is, and I'm going to read you the reality of what really is taking place with the school. What I commend with LeBron James is his efforts to get behind the image of education. We've got some in our community. This is a good critique, but it's not the time and place. Sometimes, certain things need to wait a little bit before we say them. Some in our community question the integrity of the curriculum. Will it just reinforce the ways of the colonizer, as Big L says? In European perspective and, European outtakes or outlooks on our society and that Europeanized education that America promotes and shoves down the throats of our kids. That's a correct and appropriate critique. At the appropriate time, I have no problem having that conversation, not just about LeBron's school, but about education in general in this country, especially as it serves African-American folks. But I'm going to give LeBron his kudos and his respect and his dap for getting out in front of something positive. I don't care how much money is invested. It could be $500,000. It could be $1 million. Taking the time to go out, to speak, to put his name next to education is a positive thing. We have entertainers who spend millions of dollars, believe it or not, in strip clubs, and I ain't judging. I'm just saying that's what some of our brothers do. They spend millions of dollars on jewelry, cars, houses. That's what some of our brothers do. And I'm not saying LeBron hasn't done that, by the way. I'm just saying it's good to see the image of a black man dressed appropriate, dressed nice, valuing education. Who can be mad at that but an idiot? But an idiot. You should not be mad at it. Chuck says black people to some are not considered an American citizen. On my way to see Black Klansman, and the movie is showing at 10 o'clock. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. The state with the most gun violence won Alaska. Firearm deaths per 1,000 or 100,000 people, 23 per 100,000. Total firearm deaths in 2016, 177. 113 suicides, 45 homicides. Violent crime rate, 804.2 per 100,000, the highest permitted required to carry, to carry a handgun. No. Please stop with the Chicago lying mess. That's 2017 stats. Leo is present. I always value their brother's opinion. I think Leo is an appropriate hot button and fire starter. I follow him on Facebook, enjoy his commentary. I may not agree with everything, but it is necessary. I want to continue to promote his thoughts on our show because it will even get us talking. Let me ask Big L this, as I missed a little bit of what Big L was trying to say. And I want to make sure that Big L is, and here's what's dangerous, that what I don't want to do. I think one life loss is tragic. I'm not really into comparing crime statistics in the sense that this place is more violent than the other place. Therefore, they're worse than we are. And that may not be the perspective that Big L is trying to promote. I want to have him clarify himself so that I get an understanding before I actually respond to this opinion in totality. Because to me, I'm going to be very honest, I think that Chicago is a war zone. I do. Not only is Chicago a war zone, I live in a war zone here in New Orleans. And I think Baltimore's a war zone. I think Houston's a war zone. I think LA is a war zone. I think we have a very serious problem within our community in valuing black lives. Of course, the system has shown a problem in valuing black lives, but, that has also poisoned our community. So there's a responsibility that we owe as well. Am I saying that every black person living in an urban setting is a criminal? No. I live in an urban setting. I'm not a criminal. I am saying our young folk lack some love. And they are now killing at a rate and using these firearms at a rate that's totally unseen. There used to be a way of respect. And what I mean by a way of respect is there's always been a criminal element within every community. But I talk to my folks. I don't talk to everybody. There are times when we have to look in the mirror and say that we need to do better. And sometimes we look for a crutch way too much. We look for excuses. And some valid. Some are valid. Some are valid. But they have enough educated brothers and sisters out here that if they didn't get caught up in this Europeanized curriculum and way of thought, from your religion to, the way that you approach your health, to what you eat, to how you think, to where you move, maybe our communities will be better if the best of us continue to invest in our communities, stayed in our neighborhoods, and said enough is enough, and built up in our neighborhoods. It's hard. Nobody wants to be a part of that, fixing something so tragic and so deep. We shouldn't be fixing it alone. It is a problem that we didn't create by ourselves. But it's a problem. And black folk are going to have to take their responsibility in this as well. Now, I'm not knowing if that's what Big L is saying. We're going to get some interesting opinions about this as now the chat room is buzzing because of this particular topic. And y'all going to let me do my damn show tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of other stuff. But I'm with you tonight. I missed y'all, so I'm in it for the long haul tonight. Now, we're going to run it tonight. Ms. Neek says, Chicago is still killing at an alarming rate. We got to stop worrying about if we're as bad as wow. I didn't even know that certain feelings on that, and we see that eye to eye. We got to stop worrying about if we're as bad as somebody else and just focus on getting ourselves better. Wow. New Orleans is worse than Chicago per capita. Leo comes back and says, I agree with Neek. Right, stop with the as bad or not as bad. He also agrees. Shout out to, again, I'm hard on curriculum. I am, but I must be fair. The two people that are talking about this topic that are agreeing with me on some level did receive some of their education, just some, if not all of it. Well, it can't be all of it because it was a high school, but shout out to Edna Carr. Shout out to the Cougar family. Every now and then I'll be nice. Ms. Lee says it all needs to end. Louisiana is number 3. Alabama is number 2, by the way. Ms. Neek also says, oh, God, Leo agrees with me. Big Al says, stop pushing the Fox News bullshit and tell the truth. Chuck says there's a war to destroy black men in America. Leo says, one of my friends is from Chicago, and he says it's only 4 districts in Chicago, and it's not the entire city of Chicago. Big Al says, colonizers' greatest trick, teach blacks they're bad. Get on the colonizers killing the most cops, and the most of cops, not blacks. I can't subscribe to that. I can't subscribe to that when I go outside of my door right here, Big L, right here in my neighborhood where nobody bothers anybody in this neighborhood. No, people are stealing in and out of cars. And you know who's doing that? It ain't a white boy doing that, Big L. It ain't the Caucasian man, the Asian man that stays across the street from me, and the Asians that stay in the back of my community, they're not doing it. You know who's doing it, Big L? The ones who shot at my window with a paintball and then ran off and was scared to death that I had a gun because I found them and they called the police, and I showed grace on their lives because they didn't hurt anybody. My daughter was sitting right there at the at the table, kitchen table. They shot a paintball that could have hurt her. It bust on contact on the window. You know who did that? Us. You know who was driving up and down the street shooting on Sunday morning, Easter morning, Resurrection Sunday, whatever. You could call it a regular Sunday in America if that's what you choose to call it. You know who was doing that, Big L? It wasn't a white cop. It wasn't NOPD here in New Orleans. It was us. Big L, there was a shooting about 2 weeks ago where 12 people, I believe, between 10 and 12 people were shot here in New Orleans. 3 people were killed. One young lady just here from Houston, just visiting, dead. Another young man who was involved believed to be involved in gang activity. He was the intended target. They stood over his body and dumped into him to make sure he was dead. You know who that was? That wasn't the police. It doesn't absolve the police of their duty to serve and to protect. It's not about tricking anybody. It's about accountability. And one of the issues that's a trick, when we talk about tricks, is people not accepting responsibility for their actions, and those who are educated not holding all of us in the community accountable to our actions. And that is why when you sit in front of some conservative folks or Republicans or whatever you want to call them, independents, even some of your Democrat friends, some black folk lack a lot of respect because you seek to blame everybody for your problem. Now, do you have partnership for the plight of our situation in this country? Absolutely. But people such as myself, yourself, Leo, Miss Nick, we done read a few books. God has been good to us. Life is not perfect. Chuck, we've read a few books. It's not fair to continue to say, Whitey, you got to fix this. It's your issue. You're the reason why. And we're going to leave it at that. And we get to just do whatever we want to do. And not when we're witnessing this crime happening. It's happening. I saw the shooters. That were on my block. I saw them. Shootout. It wasn't the police. That was black folk. Big L says, yo, Jay, a white person killed a cop the same month that the Dallas black shooter killed a cop. Who do you believe got the most coverage? The white killer or the black killer? I wonder why. Of course, we know that the media is going to promote the demonstrative, the rebellious, the ignorant, the danger to society black man. The promiscuous, the evil intentioned black man. We understand that, Big L. That we know that. Like intelligent black folk, we get that. We get it. We get it. But that doesn't absolve us. That doesn't absolve us of our behavior. Ms. Nick says we are multifaceted. We can address multiple problems. Absolutely. We don't have to focus on one issue and make it the issue. That's not fair. And it's not healthy, to believe it or not. It's not even healthy. You know, it's like, saying that, hey, you know what? When I get up in the morning, the only thing I'm going to do is wash my face. Nothing else. Like the grooming wouldn't be on point if that's all you did. You still got to take care of your hair. We still got to take care of our teeth. We want to put on some deodorant, make sure we're fresh. We want to take a shower. We want to do those things. Cologne, perfume, whatever. Make sure your clothes is fresh. Make sure your smile is on point. And okay, now you're presentable to the world. We can't just say, okay, hey, look, one thing and, and that's it. It's not fair. Leo says, Miguel, I believe in believing in black people first, second, third, and fourth. I do too. Leo says, Big L, are you saying that there's more or it's more of the media fault? Big L also comes back and says, F colonizers and what I believe in. Leo says, Ms. Neek, it's not an alarming rate. I wish the media would stop pushing that. I think we should concentrate on one because multitasking is not working. I get that. I get what you're trying to say there. I think it's impossible to focus on one thing because the problem was so complex. It's like a body coming into the emergency room suffering from gunshot wounds. And you have multiple people working on multiple issues at one time sometimes to try to stabilize the body so that they can save the life of said person. If you watched any of the ER or trauma shows, you've seen, multiple doctors and nurses and assistants coming in and dealing with multiple issues all related to a gunshot wound. They don't just say, okay, he got shot, let's just pull a bullet out. That's not how that happens. And I think if you can compare it similar, that the plight within our community mirrors that. That we need multiple folks in a room doing multiple things addressing the emergency within our community. And there are a lot of them. Failure to address them could cause you to lose the life of the community. And watch this, them. It's not any one issue. Them. So while I understand logically you'd want to approach a problem and say, hey, let's deal with everything one by one. I don't think that's realistic. Just as I don't think it's realistic to have this indictment or this message in which we push an agenda through the black community that everybody is behind 100%. I think that's unrealistic as well. I think the greatest place for change, the greatest possibility for change is through education and what we're teaching and the possibilities of black folk and how black folks should love their culture and who they are and love themselves and understand their value to this country, not only this country, but to the world. So, yeah, I think that's a strong step in the right direction, which is why I can't speak against what Lebron is doing. But to ignore the different issues of our community and say that we shouldn't address them or we shouldn't try to tackle them. We have a community that's multifaceted and we're very gifted. Black people have done a lot since coming to America. And we got a lot of smart black folk walking around that are very comparable people that can do a lot of things. If we're looking for one leader, a king or one queen, then of course, if all of the community's hope is in a president, one guy, then we got a problem. But if in your community you can find the community organizer that is actually helping, our kids go to school without being hungry because he's working with the community pantry program and making sure that, the kids are being nourished correctly without judging the situation of the household, just saying, hey, these kids got to eat. Like, bottom line, they need to eat. If we're invested in the after-school programs in which not only are we okay with just giving our tax money that's forced to come out of our paycheck, but are we actively involved in giving back to our young folk? How many people are actually engaging our youth? And I mean engaging them in multiple facets. Like, are you listening to their music, having an opinion about their music that's not always judgmental, but will allow a conversation to be sparked where they feel like you value their expression and their opinion? Which is why I'm always going to listen to their stuff. Always. I'm always going to try to follow what they're doing. Not because I want to do it and I want to be 13 or 16 again. But we can't talk to them if you can't relate to them. And a lot of them are in a lot of pain. And I'm always going to start with young folks. I think older people have been in the matrix so much that some of us just, we just have, we just resolved to just, hey, die in the matrix. It is what it is. Ms. Nick says, you believing in it's not alarming is subjective. I agree with that. The numbers say it's not alarming. I don't agree with that, Leo. There are too many tragic stories coming out of all of our inner cities, that to me signals we need to be ringing alarms. I'm alarmed. Ms. Nick says, when the scales are slanted more to one side than the other, it's alarming. Leo, says Big L, Google the black doll and the white doll challenge and tell me who taught those kids self-hate. Phil says, what's up, y'all? I'm late, but I'm present. What y'all talking about? Leo says, Big L, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. Ms. Nick says, Leo, the fact that you will never admit to the fact that there is a disadvantage to being black in America severely detracts from anyone listening to your opinions. That's going to be an interesting, exchange. I'm just reading the first one. There's 19 other ones that I've missed. But between Miss Neek and Leo, they're going to have some fun here, going back and forth. I'll be sure to keep the audience up to date with the exchanges between those two. As Leo says, I never said that. Miss Neek comes back and says, Leo, every issue that is presented, you speak against it or try to debunk it, which I will say, I will give Miss Neek correct kudos there. I've seen that. Leo reminds me of me in certain capacities where I'm the guy that's the anti-mob mentality. Like if everybody's going left, I'm going right. Everybody's going right, I'm going left. So I get it. Like I get that shit. Like I like that. But there's times when, as Ms. Neek also said, me and her had an interesting conversation, a little bit of a debate. There's sometimes when the mob might be right. It might be right. And without looking for an excuse, is I will ask for someone to give their dad some water if you guys are listening. Without giving people an excuse, there's accountability, Leo, that the white American needs to be accountable for, even if they are not the person directly oppressing black folk. You are the beneficiary of a system that was put in place to create a upper class, a dominant class. Let's change that. A dominant class and a subservient class. Can we just say that's what it is? You got a dominant class and a subservient class, and you even see those elements operating in the NFL, where the dominant class, believe it or not, is the NFL owners. And these millionaires, the partners in this business, they're the subservient class. What do you think everybody fits in that? As far as where black folks sit in this country, I would say that 100% of us, Leo, 100% of black folks sit in a subservient class. You know why? We don't control any major resources of anything. We don't control the military. We damn sure don't control this government. Do we control any natural resources, Leo? Do black folk in this country where everything is supposed to be fair and there's equal opportunity to all folks, does any minority control control it? They are the dominant influence of a natural resource. If you're going to be a people of power, that's one thing that I watched and I paid attention to in the movie The Black Panther, you need to have some type of military, intelligence. You have to be dominant, within your practice of military engagement. This country is. Now, black lives, we put ourselves on the line for this military. But when you go look at the generals and those who are making the decisions in these rooms, do you see black folk being the final answer? Do you? For a moment, you had Barack Obama in office. A phenomenal story. Barack is a big, big topic. I don't really want to infuse Barack into this conversation tonight, But you had that. But absent Barack, okay, if you want to say for 8 years, black folk had something, and to be honest, they didn't, but if I want to create a place of rational debate, okay, 8 years in the existence of this country, you had a black man that was the president of the United States. Leo says there are disadvantages to being black, Mexican, poor, whites, and so on, but been knowing that for 100 years now. When are we going to get over it and just adjust to still win with the difficulties? And see, I understand what Leo was saying. But and see, that's the rationale that some of us have to take because we get the education. And we have the credit. And we drive the cars and we can travel. And so there has to be a conditioning of the mind and on some level that says, hey, I can win. Like, I got to be able to win, right? Like, this shit can't be this slanted against me. I got to be able to win. And, ultimately, Leo, without being disrespectful to your accomplishments or any other black person's accomplishments. When I talk about natural resources and being able to shift a country to any direction you want, technological, healthcare, education, what are the industries that you would deem are vital industries in this country? And do black people control them? Do we control the policies of any of those industries? If the answer is no, then you have a dominant class and a subservient class. And I don't care if there are a few whites in the subservient class. There are no blacks in the dominant class. How about that? And that shit don't sound good to hear every now and then. Because somebody told you got your education and you did this and you did that you wouldn't be Steven. That you're not going to be Steven in Django. Like, you're not going to be the guy that is inside the plantation house that they take care of and think you are the acceptable Negro. Like, no, you're not. You're black. You can stomp and beat on your chest and you pay your taxes. And you represent being a black man. And you know I'm educated. I've done a whole lot in my life. And I'll be damned if anybody try to say I'm subservient or I'm underneath anybody. Huh. How many resources your people control in this country? And when I say your people, don't become a part of the conditioned thought process that we're all the same in this country. That's a damn lie. That's a lie. Your ethnic group and your ethnicity and your culture is important. If it wasn't important, then you would have black folk in those positions of power controlling natural resources. But we don't, Leo. Ms. Nick says, it is of historical fact that one will be hard-pressed to see or find a time when you spoke out against the injustices of black folk. Big Al says, so Leo, you putting up your own bootstraps? I made it. Why can't you make it? As they go back and forth in exchanging of opinion here. I don't want to miss a comment here I saw from Big BS3. Education is the key on all sides. We have to learn from each other. I agree with that. I think one of the issues, though, is when you look at how this country was designed and who's benefited, and it's very, very ugly, the history of this country. And that's why this debate about the flag and the national anthem, and what we're really having a discussion about is that power to design the future of this nation. Who's going to be at the forefront of doing that? And you have a group of people that are still trying to control the narrative. I can control the narrative in everything. And it's unfair. And you know what? It'll hurt their feelings. If I was to present this conversation to a few people, they would, and I say a few people meaning those not of the same ethnic, background as I am. Some of them, a lot of them would have a lot of offense to what I'm saying, but wouldn't be able to deny the truth is the truth. How do the people that was enslaved in this country pull themselves up by their own bootstraps to the place where they're now equal with you? Like, that whole equal thing is a joke. Like, are y'all really believing that shit? There is a such thing as finite resources. Like, shout out to Thanos. Shout out to Thanos in the Avengers movie. There's a such thing as that, guys. It actually exists. There is a certain amount of resources and control that will max out at some point. And when you look at, again, and I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, it shouldn't really be bad news. It should be obvious news. Black folk don't control not one damn natural resource or any industry of importance in this country. Not one. Leo says, Nick, will you keep complaining about injustices? They are here and now. What? What's next? Kneeling to bring awareness. I think we've been aware for 150 years now. Chuck says, theater full of white folks to see black Klansmen. It is what it is. I don't know if we've been aware for 150 years. I think some of us, I think we have to do and this is where the balance of what Big L is talking about, there is a sensitivity that is necessary, that is required to understand the traumatic depths and the psychological impact and effect of being told that you're not human is on a group of people. That has deep psychological wounds. And I don't know if you get through that in just 400 years. Big L says, I never said that. I never said don't do for yourself, but I am paying taxes, and I want everything that everyone else is receiving with my tax dollars. I agree with that. Mystique says that's how we have advancements in this world. Awareness without action is moot. And she's correct. I don't know, though. I can't say to everybody, when you say we have been aware, when you say we, that inclusive statement, some of us, a few of us, have been aware. Again, dominant. A dominant class and a subservient class. The dominant class can ensure their survival, during a traumatic and dramatic event like Katrina, like the flood that hit Houston. If there was to be a natural disaster on the West Coast or anywhere in the world, the dominant class would get on a plane. They know how to move around and get themselves prepared for such things. They have positioned themselves to be a part of the reallocation of wealth when such events happen. So that's basically what happens. It's like the Monopoly board just being thrown up in the air and everybody gets to start over and scramble for different resources, different jewels, golds, oils, diamonds, the benefits of war, So they position themselves to come in and take. The subservient class are those who, when that storm hits, you drive away and you max out your credit cards to stay in the hotel, and life is still going to be, it's going to hit you. I don't care if you got $5,000 in credit, you can max out 10. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you flew a plane out of here on Southwest or Delta. Again, the dominant class can go to the lakefront. Oh, the storm's coming. Look, Mom, I'm sitting in my jet. Just, come on. Come to New York for a few. We're going to, the house is well insured. Everything will be okay. We've taken care of everything anyway. I'm not saying that they don't suffer or they don't have pains, but it's a different thought process. And all I'm asking you is, yes, LeBron James is one of the few that can get on. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan can get on a plane and do the same thing. They can, right? So they're right at the door. Here's the difference. Can Michael Jordan make any difference in policy as it relates to the distribution of energy? Can he advance the initiative, not just in building one school, but in the way that a Bill Gates could maybe affect, or in the way that we saw, or the people that obviously they have control of Apple? Can he do things in the realm of technology that will allow him to be a significant force as to which black folk would now control a very pivotal element in industry in this country and technology? Could he buy into one? Could he make a few millions? Yes. Could he even become a billionaire? Yes. On paper, he could. When he tries to liquidate his assets, it depends on what somebody's willing to buy it from him. And see, that's where the game get a little tricky. It's just like us who have, in a subservient class, when you have a house and they come and give you an appraisal and they say, okay, your house is worth this, but then now the other elements have to come in and position themselves appropriately for you now to maximize that appraisal if you're going to sell that house and get the most money back on that investment. Same thing for that paper saying that you're a billionaire. When you encompass all of the assets, who's going to buy from them and what they're going to be willing to pay from Michael Jordan's assets. So big concept, big discussion, a lot of debate about it. And it's a conversation that won't be solved tonight on Love, Sports, and Hip Hop Radio, but one that's necessary within our community and actually also outside of our community. Because now here goes the question, who's going to be willing to give up control of a resource and allow black folk to come in and be a part of America in that way? Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Big L says, Leo, I'm followed by police and pulled over. can go try to get a business loan and get turned down. I can try to get a loan for land and not get it. I can fill out an application and put it out, or they can put it out because of my race. On and on and on, Leo. I think Leo's aware of those things. Leo's affiliated with a very strong brother of mine, Damon Smothers. He's very, very, very strong brother. Leo's a very smart man. He knows all of that stuff. There's a balance that I think people try to achieve. And I think Leo appropriately at times tries to counter or go against the narrative that black folks are truly helpless. The only thing that I would say, and I'm with the harmony amongst all of the cultures. I'm for that. I think every culture is important and unique and can give a lot of great things to our world in its entirety. I'm not one that says that the dominant, people on the land or in the world should be black or white. I think we all should share this land that God has graced us to exist in or on in harmony. I do. I believe in harmony. Equality, harmony. And so however we can work to achieve that is what I'm about. I'll tell you this. Continue to talk equality and, worry about equal pay. And that's fine. The biggest issue is that black folks, minorities, you don't control resources. You don't control resources. Ms. Neek says, I am not receiving the same education, quality, in our schools and in our neighborhoods. And I'll let her kind of put that together for me. I'll let her kind of shape that up for me again. You're listening to Love Sports and Hip Hop Radio. This conversation is complex. I got to reset. We've been on since 9 o'clock. It's now almost 10:30. I'm not going anywhere, okay? You got some more time with your boy. I want to get to the NFL. NFL. I saw cell phone come up by Big L and said NFL. I want to get to the NFL outside of the kneeling. I want to talk about Baker Mayfield. Preseason week 1. I'm not going to overrate the shit. Like, we're going to have a discussion about it. What should you come out of it with? Darius Geis, former LSU star, former Baton Rouge Catholic star, Louisianian, blew his ACL in week 1 of preseason. To me, that's where it begins and ends. That's where it begins and ends. You want to be healthy. That's my honest-to-God feeling about preseason. Like, the stats and what people are doing. We kind of saw Dak Prescott become a superstar in preseason. We saw Russell Wilson become a superstar in preseason. So, there's a reality. There's a reality that exists in which you can watch these games and you can find a upcoming star. That's legitimate. So there's value in watching the depth of these rosters and maybe players who will be coming on and, maybe having some years that you don't expect, especially if you're a fantasy football player. And check this out. Love Sports and Hip Hop will do fantasy football. I saw Miss Nick ask about fantasy football. She said, look, I need some advice. I'm the guru. I am the guru of fantasy football. I know everything, every damn thing, okay? And we're going to have a fantasy football league to prove it. Details coming soon. Before the beginning of the NFL season 1, we're going to let the entire preseason go. You'll get a chance to research, a few players, a few sleepers, and do all of that good stuff. And then we're going to have a league. 10, 12 teams. I'm undecided, but we will do one. The league will be hosted by ESPN. So there will be a Love Sports and Hip Hop Fantasy Football League. Continue to listen and pay attention to our various media networks out there, particularly on Facebook, facebook.com/Love Sports Hip Hop, to keep up to date with that. So if you're interested in joining, go over there, shoot us a message. We'll make sure you're, up to date with all of that good stuff if you want to come and have some fun in fantasy football and watch your boy win, okay? And it will cost you a little penny, okay? Not a lot. We ain't trying to come for your coin for real. But it will cost you, a little something, okay? Love Sports and Hip Hop back, man. I miss y'all. Y'all are up tonight. And I like it. I like that. I like it when y'all show up. Need y'all to tell somebody we on, man. This is a global brand. Tell somebody we on, man. Be right back for more Love Sports and Hip Hop.
Pull up on the roads with a bad chica. I got goose from the left, goose from the right. Pull up in the roads with a back chica. And my pocket looking gigantical. No sales, so I never die. I'm a man, I that chica. But I'm still writing my article. No sleeping on a bicycle. And I give thanks, show gratitude. But I'm still a nigga with an attitude. But if you run up on you any day, so if you much about you, no fuck up another man daily bread. Then me they throw me shots like NBA. Man, you put they go have all need it. Too many struggle men who they read. But do I cover me for any days? Brother man, I never lose God. Every day me go so hard. Reason why I be younger since child, no count to get the youth out. Boy, I'm on my next level. I say I pass, come on entrance. I got goose from the left, goose from the right. Pull up in the roads with a back chica. Hey man, I'm gonna got that chica. And my pocket looking gigantical. No sales, so I never die. I'm a man, I that chica. Hey man, I'm gonna got that chica. But I'm still writing my article. No sleeping on a bicycle. And I give thanks, show gratitude. But I'm still a nigga with an attitude. I'm a baller, I'm a baller, I'm a baller. I can't deny it. I'm a baller, I'm a baller, I'm a baller.
Tires with the bees on it. Bust down chain looking like a free donut. Girl, stop playing, don't ruin a great moment. Been doing my thing lately, no woman could take it from me. A land in the gadget, a legend. The people really know me cause it's really hot. But I get this watch out, they get the snow, yeah. Show, go to the hood, love it or hate it. I'm still a goat. I fell in love with the Ebo. She told me I'm a demon. I'm in the Nuga Wolfino. He said go get a new one. And yo, America, told my parents to stop dreaming. So I told the ball, well, nah, baby, we super eagles. Wale, I be rapping all day. When I step in this situation, the temperature change, okay. Wale, now your boys in the game. And whosoever with the Wahala, come holler my name, baba.
I got goose from the left, goose from the right. Pull up in the roads with a back chica. Hey man, I'm gonna got that chica. And my pocket looking gigantical. No sales, so I never die. I'm a man, I that chica. Hey man, I'm gonna got that chica. Come for me, I go show you practical. But I'm still writing my article. No sleeping on a bicycle. And I give thanks, show gratitude. Yeah, I'm still a nigga with an attitude. But if you run up on you any day, so if you much about you, no fuck up another man daily bread. Then me they throw me shots like NBA. Man, you put they go have all need it. Too many struggle men who they read. Oh, do I cover me for any days? Yeah, I tell me what alone. I know one wahala, tell me what alone. One leg at me fake I'm what alone. I even they see my hand I cut up one. But I'm still writing my article. No sleeping on a bicycle. And I give thanks, show gratitude. But I'm still a nigga with an attitude. I can't deny it. I'm a baller. I'm a baller. I'm a baller. We can't deny it. I'm a baller. I'm a baller. I'm baller.
Is this recording? It was turned down. Big No came, C-No came through it. Turned everything up, bro. We got lean popping. My niggas is woke. Coop is woke with the coop. Coop up. You feel me? Niggas turn. We finna shoot a video. You feel me? Bitches is in the video getting mad. You know what I'm saying? So all type of shit going on, bro. The shit was turned down. I promise you, niggas was quiet. Niggas was at the choir rehearsal before I got up in here.
Flashing up, pussy niggas be pressured up. Don't give a damn out them bitches, they still a fuck. My mama said keep smoking, but baby put down the cup. Shout out all my niggas is stacking, giving it up. And watch out all these bitches be pregnant and setting up. And I can't fall a victim to weapons, I keep it tucked. And I can't hold my niggas, they extra and let her buzz. We sauce on the beat, we She can't win no chokers, my nigga straight out the street. I could call her over, make my gang something to eat. Yeah, my brothers caught a body, they gon' put them on a t-shirt. Call me when you need work. Walk around $1,000 shoes and make it feel. I'm gon' try to eat, but I'm gon' try to feed my team. I want me a bitch, a lot of bitches wanna be her. Told her, babe, I'm fucked up, I'm gon' fucking, I'm gon' leave her. Yeah. And I ain't sorry, me and Lil' Bae at a party. Yeah. I do drugs enough for bitches, I'm an artist. Hit the pedal in the coupe, it go retarded. Money love to call it. Yeah, well, them bitches, I'm flashing up. Ay, pussy niggas be pressured up. Don't give a damn about them bitches, they still a fuck. My mama said keep smoking, but baby, put down the cup. Shout out all my niggas, just stacking, giving it up. And watch out all these bitches be pregnant and setting up. And I can't fall a victim, them weapons, I keep it tucked. And I can't hold my niggas, they extra and let her buzz. Ay, that's just what it is. Ay, they gon' let it go straight off the rip. I'm like this cause I grew up with the killers and the pimps. Only thing my daddy taught me, keep a blow on my hip. And I still got some plans with Lil' Baby, she on the list. And I'm still making money and making money from this. And I still bring a pound in the Uber and in the lift. And I still keep a rolling with diamonds up on my wrist. For this poppin' shit. Fuck is you saying? Fuckin' that bitch off a sand. I'ma wake up, I'ma fuck your bitch again. I've been driving with my pistol in my hand. These niggas out here ain't playing. Yeah, we gon' keep playing with them digits and flashing up. Ay, pussy niggas be pressured up. Don't give a damn about them bitches, they still a fuck. My mama said keep smoking, but baby, put down the cup. Shout out all my niggas, just stacking, giving it up. And watch out all these bitches be pregnant and setting up. And I can't fall a victim, them weapons, I keep it tucked. And I can't hold my niggas, they extra and let her buzz.
Love, sports, hip-hop. I'm gonna give y'all one, man. That's my homie, man. Pino Rido, man. That's the homie I've been on now for at least, a few years now. And I just can't wait for homie to kind of get from out of the stage, just bubbling and being hot. He done a few things with Nipsey out there in California. He's actually from the West Coast. But homie's sound, man, is nice. It's nice. I know a lot of y'all like, Jay, wait up. All these niggas sound alike. Like between Migos and Travis Scott, this cat here, and a few of these other dudes, all these guys sound alike. Well, let me fill y'all in on something real quick. Since we're talking about hip-hop and music. If y'all go back and listen to the 90s when New Jack Swing was like really, really big, like a lot of people sounded alike. You can debate the talent, and I'm one to think the talent was better. I can give that up, but, I'm not going to sit up here and act like the sound of the music was not the same. Like shit all sounded the same, Now, there was some differences in artists, and A&Rs did their deal, and they were able to kind of make sure that the voices, weren't as similar. But when you look at the construct of the music and the production of the music and the songs and how long they were and the placement of them, they was all the same. So don't act like these kids are the first generation to have a lot of duplicates. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But again, like I said in the last segment, you got to understand the music of these young folks to be able to connect with them. Love sports and hip hop. International. Shout out to Miss Neek. She did have one artist write Wale. Collaborating international sound, not only Wale. Omarion, he hasn't really done anything here in the States of any notoriety in a long time. But his name is buzzing outside of the States. Like it's really buzzing. So, again, man, black culture for the win. Love sports and hip-hop for the win. You're back. I am J. Orleans for the win. Shout out to the homie J. Rock. Win. Eligible for Album of the Year. Phenomenal project. If you ain't heard it, you need to hear it quick. You need to heard it already. Okay? A lot of music out there, man. A lot of good music. J. Cole album right now. We gave it 5 flames. Drake, Scorpion album, got 5 flames on this network. Travis Scott, different type of artist. I haven't talked to Miss Sneak. I can't give the 5 flames cosign without talking with her, but, damn, the album is phenomenal. If you ain't heard Astroworld yet, you tripping. She also said Ciara dropped a song today as well. I haven't heard it, would love to hear it. You know what? The hell with that. It's Love Sports and Hip Hop. We can go and find it. And if you haven't heard it, then we all need to heard it. We all need to have heard it. Ciara, brand new song. I was selling records, man, at our Virgin Megastore when Sierra first dropped. Am I correct in saying that the song that we should be debuting is called Freak Me? I ain't gonna play the whole thing. Play a little bit of it. This is a new drop from Sierra.
Love the way you wind it, go. Like when you get it down so loco.
Now, if it's really hot, I'm gonna let the shit play. I'm telling y'all now.
Why slow on it? Take control of it. Take all of it. Yeah, all of it. Said you want it. Now you want it. I know what you like. I know what you like. Go down, baby. Stay down, baby.
All right, I'm good. I'm gonna let it play, man. Brand new Sierra, Freak Me. I'm gonna let it happen. Be right back.
I love how you take care of me. That good, always there for me. All I want, you got all I need. Loving on your body, yeah. I'll be the free, be the free, be the free, be the free that you need. Oh, no, I want to nobody, how you freak my body. I'll be the free, be the free, be the free, be the free that you need. Oh, no, I want to nobody, how you freak my body. Freaky, how you freak me. Freaky, how you freak me. Like guys with me, good vibes, baby. Left side, baby, right side, baby. Up the lights, let me give you that fire, baby. I know what you like, I know what you like. Do it over and over. Turn me on like a remote controller. Up and down like a roller coaster. I know what you like, I know what you like. I love how you take care of me. That good, always there for me. All I want, you got all I need. Loving on your body, yeah. I'll be the free, be the free, be the free, be the free that you need. Oh, no, I want to nobody, how you freak my body. I'll be the free, be the free, be the free, be the free that you need. Oh, no, I want to
Brand new Sierra, Freak Me. Look, ain't no disrespect to Sierra. Like, I get it. And it's dope. And I will give its proper respect and play the entire record on our network. It's happening, okay? Just wanted to kind of make sure, that we heard at least some of it because it is trending on YouTube, okay? At the number one slot, the 31 slot, excuse me. We have Miss Sneak in the chat room spewing incorrect facts that's not facts at all. It's no such thing at all. It's not Star Search, okay? We don't give 0.5s and all of that on your flame, get right. If you have 4.75, 4.6, you round that thing up, okay? You round that thing up. That's how you do that, okay? Nah, man. Nah. So we got a 5 flame album out of Drake. You got one out of, J. Cole. That's 2 already in the year. We got a few others to kind of find out if we're going to. They definitely ain't got too many 5 flame albums out here. So everybody ain't getting 5 flames, But we're gonna get back into that for y'all and give y'all some ratings soon. Sierra's new joint. I like it. I will give it its proper respect. He said to come on in, Miss Neek, throwing up craziness, not even telling y'all truths. It's not correct. Okay? Please don't listen to that. I got the mic right now, by the way. And I am J.O. Leans, and we're getting ready to discuss the NFL, amongst other things. NFL football is back. Fantasy football, people are targeting players. Can't guard Mike, a.k.a. Mike Thomas of the New Orleans Saints. Pretty high target on many people's fantasy teams going in the second round of fantasy drafts. I would say that brother's 5 flames, just like Drake. It's the 5-star album. 5 flame album. Scorpion $1 billion in a week. Don't start me. It's been a while. I've been good. I've been good. I ain't even talk about him a day like that. Okay? I promise. Any regard, the Saints played Thursday night. Came back from behind to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars for whatever it's worth in preseason. It doesn't matter the inning score, okay? But it does on some level because for certain teams, I think building a culture of understanding how to win is important. And even if how to win is pulling it out at the very end and executing just well enough to be better than the other team, I think that it does have some value. Now, how you can measure that value is debatable, but it does have some value. Okay? It has some value. The Saints are a team that I believe that if they do well in the preseason, on some level that translates to the regular season. I think teams like Cleveland need to take the preseason a little bit more serious than a team like maybe New England. While New England shouldn't just throw away their preseason, I think, again, developing the culture of trusting the system, and that's what it's all about in preseason. I'm not going to get on here and talk to you about guys that you should be watching out for after 1 week of preseason. We'll talk about that as we kind of lead into the regular season on our next Love Sports and Hip Hop radio show. I'll give you my opinion as it relates to how and what you should be looking for as a fan of your particular team, and it's very simple. Execution of the simple things in football. On defense, is your team tackling well? Are they causing turnovers? Preseason is the time in which turnovers should be happening, and the gaining confidence on the defensive side of the ball, you should see it. Those interceptions that are there to be made should be caught by your defenders. Those forced fumbles should be gathered by your defenders. The defense should be a little bit ahead of the offense in preseason. And again, this is the time to get these offenses because they're fine-tuning their systems. If your defense is missing tackles, if people are blowing assignments, then the culture is not good. And I don't even care if it's preseason. Your team they're bringing in, I don't want to use this term, but I guess, hey, whatever. You're bringing in stupid players. You're bringing in dumb athletes, undisciplined athletes, people who are not tackling well. It's one thing to get beat. That happens. It's another thing to not be in a place that you should have been. And so these are the things that, to me, you should be watching if you're watching preseason football. And then you want to make sure that you get out of it relatively healthy. You don't want offensive line, defensive line injuries. You don't need secondary injuries, linebacker injuries. You don't need your quarterback. You don't want injuries, period. Injuries are bad. They affect your regular season. Now you can look at Philadelphia. They had an injury to their number one draft pick in Carson Wentz a few years ago. Dynamic young quarterback. They still ended up winning the Super Bowl. So if your team has the correct depth, if the chemistry is correct, you can still overcome these injuries, but it's better to not have to overcome it and go into the regular season relatively healthy. Because what happened last year is an anomaly. That doesn't happen every year. It's rare. It's happened before where a backup quarterback has led a team to a title. But it doesn't happen every year. It's not the new wave in the NFL where backup quarterbacks, journeymen, are going to be leading your team to championships. That's just not how it's gone. There is a big year, I believe, on the rise. And I'm not saying that it's going to actually materialize on the field, but it's a big year in the career of one Eli Manning. There'll be a few guys that I will kind of highlight this year early and tell you that they need to come out and play big time. Eli Manning is one of those guys. He has no excuse. He has what he needs on offense. He will have a running game. He obviously will have Odell Beckham back in the fold. They need to pay him and make him the highest paid receiver in the game. That needs to happen. But Eli Manning needs to have a big year. The NFC East should be very fun to watch this year. The Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott should be back. Ezekiel Elliott back after a year of controversy. That whole domestic violence issue with him now behind him. We'll see if the Dallas Cowboys can get back to their winning ways of a year before that all kind of happened. They're one of those teams that if you're looking for a new team to get into the playoffs in the NFC, they got to be at the top of the list. As every year, there's a new team that will enter the playoff race. San Francisco will probably another team that everybody's looking at and kind of saying, hey, watch out for San Francisco. As Jimmy Garoppolo now with a full offseason there in San Francisco. We'll see how that all kind of pans out. Kirk Cousins looks sharp, according to NFL Network, in his debut, brief debut with the Minnesota Vikings. I like Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a capable quarterback. I do. I think he's capable. If you're looking for NFL scores and NFL games that are currently on air right now, if it matters to you, the Minnesota Vikings are beating the Denver Broncos 33-28 right now. Arizona, right now they're hosting the Los Angeles Chargers, and they're up at half 7-3. Finals in the NFL this week. Buffalo fall to the Carolina Panthers 28-23. Speaking of the Panthers, there was some interesting news. Cam Newton kind of in the mix. Here with the former receiver who said Cam's basically dumb. I'll come back and kind of get into that. Got a text from the guy that kind of gave me a lot of the inspiration to do what I do. Talked to him briefly today. Want to welcome Mr. Tony G, a.k.a. Tony Valentine, a.k.a. my dad, to listening to Love Sports and Hip Hop. What's up, Pops? Appreciate you chiming in. I'm going to read your comments here in a moment. The New Orleans Saints 24-20 over Jacksonville. Tampa Bay 26-24 over Miami. So as of right now, everybody in the NFC South is undefeated that I've read thus far, that is, via week one or after week one. Giants fall 20-10 to Cleveland. The Steelers 31-14 over the Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles. Baltimore smacked the Rams all in the face 33-7. Just disrespect. That kind of loss you can't have. There's one team in the NFC South that did lose, though, and it's always great. Always great to announce, like really great to announce that the Falcons lost 17-0. They scored literally 0 points. That is alarming. See, those are things that forget about winning the game. You can't even score. You didn't get a field goal in your first preseason game. You've been in camp all this time, and you can't put up 3 points in a league that is pro offense. You have a problem. You have a problem. Let's pull in some comments here from Pops. Let's see what he says. He says, I heard the new Sierra sounds good. Good point on Manning. You talked about dumb athletes. Number 43 for the Saints will be Pro Bowl candidate. Absolutely. That kid should have been cut. I mean, I get it. People want to. I'm totally off of his bandwagon. I really was never truly necessarily on it, but I didn't wish anything against the kid. I still don't. We're talking about, I believe his name is Marcus Williams. I call him 43 now for the Saints. He's the guy that's responsible for Tom Benson not living to see the Saints play another Super Bowl. Who else is going to say that but me? Nobody else in our media would say that but me, because it's indeed the truth. That's why I tell you have to take advantage of every moment. Everybody, Saints will just be right back. You have no idea the Saints will be right back. The NFC is loaded. The NFC is loaded. When you have an opportunity to make a play, and speaking of that particular play, I've got some other news to get into. Alvin Kamara making some interesting comments, basically saying that had the Saints pulled off that game, they would have beat the Eagles' ass and then went on into the Super Bowl. And then we would have gotten the Super Bowl that I wanted, which would have been the Patriots and the Saints, which we should have got that Super Bowl by now. That should have happened. It's been ruined a few times. It's been ruined by miraculous plays. It's like it's not meant to be. The other time it had a chance in happening, I believe it was 2011. The Saints lost in miraculous fashion in San Francisco, a game they should have won. The Saints then would have come home to play the Giants. They would have rolled the Giants at home. They'd already smacked their ass all up in the regular season. They would have rolled the Giants in the Dome. You had an NFC Championship game in the Dome. You ain't beating the Saints in the Dome in the NFC Championship game. It ain't happening. The Patriots ended up, winning the AFC, faced the Giants, and I believe that game was played in Arizona, and the Giants won that one. So the Saints could have played the Patriots that year. And then last year, yes, Philly, they played phenomenal. They deserved to win a Super Bowl. Philly was a good team from start to finish last year. and was discredited all the way through. I am not as firm a believer as Kamara is that the Saints would have pulled it out, because here's the reason why. I do believe that Philly's defense, their front seven, their line, a dominant defensive line. And I do believe there's something when a team feels disrespected. And we would have heard Breeze versus Brady. That would have been the big conversation leading up to the game. The Saints defense was not stellar. They were okay, but not stellar. And, I don't know. I give the Saints a shot. I give them a shot. But we'll never know, because Marcus Williams took that away from us on an incredibly stupid play. And where else in the world, ladies and gentlemen, where else in the world could you blow it like that and still have your job at the same company? Could you imagine going to your boss and saying, let's calculate how much money Marcus Williams could have cost the New Orleans Saints, the franchise, and everybody, real quick. And I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but the season ended this way last year, and I got to kind of really get everybody understanding why I gave him such a hard time. One, Tom Benson's no longer here. That's already big enough reason and issue that I told y'all I was right, that you got to take advantage of the moment. Two, if the Saints do reach the Super Bowl, the memorabilia, the money, the impact to the community, and all of the things that would have happened because of such event happening, it's in the millions of dollars. When your team reaches the Super Bowl, that's a whole other merchandising deal, basically, because you become a part of that event. So the Saints' name, all of the logos and the players that played in it would have been a part of that story forever, just as they're a part of the 2009 story in which they won. I have the Monopoly board that's never been opened. That's the championship board and the programs and the ticket sales. And we're talking millions of dollars that this guy cost his team. And of course, pushing them into the Super Bowl might be too extreme. Definitely at least a few million, in that his team would have went to Philly. They would have cashed some checks. Their playoff check bonuses that these guys get. This guy's actions or inactions cost a lot of money. And so would you have your job, to all those people who sympathized with him last year when he blew that, would you still have your job if you cost your job millions of dollars? No, you would not. There's nowhere in America you could do that and get away with that. So I'm not indicting him as he should not work ever again in the world. I'm not even saying he couldn't be an NFL player someplace else. I just have no interest in watching him in a Saints uniform. He needs to be traded immediately. He should have been it after the game. He blew it. As Leo posted a particular article that I will at the end of the show, not necessarily end, but a little later on in the next segment, we'll get into. It talks about most black families in America are not poor, but the media wants you to think so. I told Leo, we're not talking, classes and allowing you to feel good about you having your job. When I was discussing that, we're talking dominant class and subservient class. Just two spots that you got. Black people are not the dominant class. But where else could you cost your company millions of dollars and keep your job? Nowhere. So this kid should have been moved on. So I do agree that, he's probably at the front of the Dumb Athlete Award. Ms. Nick says nobody's going to pick up somebody that made a mistake that big. You may be right. I'd take anything. 7th-round pick. 6th-round pick. 5th round, I'd have packed his bags up and flew him to you on our team plane. I'd have done that. And again, this kid may go on to have a very strong career, and that's fine. And the Saints may indeed win another Super Bowl, but that doesn't take the place of the one they could have won. See, that's how you have to look at that. He's got to go. And so now when you watch this kid, if you're a Saints fan, every time he makes a mistake, you're going to be reminded of the biggest mistake he ever made. That's why it's unfair to him. He needed to go someplace else, change his number, his uniform, and for everybody, we would have to have been reminded that, oh, that's the guy that did this with the Saints. He would have had a shot at changing his history. And, hey, I have a son that plays football. And he plays for a very prominent program here in the state, in high school. And, you know, they could be playing an arch rival, a nemesis, the alumni of Leonard Fournette. My son attends John Curtis. They have a few players in the NFL right now. Leonard Fournette plays for what would probably be, I think, appropriately stated, a arch rival in the Catholic League here in the city, as St. Augustine, a relatively all-black male high school with a proud and storied tradition here in New Orleans, right? My son could fumble the ball. He plays running back. And on the 1 yard line going into the end zone to tie the game. And maybe it's a clear run. And the guy just catches up to him and he celebrates early and it's a fumble and it costs the team the championship. We would have won the game, right? And I'd have to console my son. That would be my job as his dad, okay? Marcus Williams needs to have people that love him console him. Saints fandom don't need to be a part of that crew. You know? As a professional athlete, it's a difference between him and then what my son would have done as a high school athlete. He's not getting paid to do this. That guy had a job. He had one job to do. One job. And he didn't do it. So the Saints will try to bounce back from that. Most teams never bounce back from that. Like those are moments, and the Saints have already had it. Like we've had those moments. we had it under the Sean Payton administration. You know, with the situation in San Francisco. That team, as constructed, never got back to that height. The NFL changes year in and year out. Everything kind of worked to the advantage of the Saints last year. You split with Atlanta. You swept Carolina. You know, last year you avoided playing Aaron Rodgers. This year he's back. You go on the road into Lambeau and you beat him. I believe the Saints were 0-2 or 1-2 at the time between there last year. And they go in and they get back to 500 or get their first win of the season, whichever the real deal is, by playing a backup quarterback in Lambeau, and it was a really good game for a good while. I can tell you that if Aaron Rodgers had played that game, the Saints probably don't win that game in Lambeau. That one game changes everything for the Saints because if you lose that one game, okay, the Saints now make the playoffs as a wild card team, which means they would have been on the road. They don't win a division. So the NFL is that razor thin. Every year there's going to be a game. You know, how important was that Redskins game for the Saints fans out there? And for the Redskins, for that matter. Saints get that game into overtime, down 15 points with less than 6 minutes left in that game. Find a way to get that game in overtime and win it. Pops chimes in and says, how many games have the Saints lost because of Drew Brees? He says, but the difference, Williams made his mistake in a possible championship effort. Correct. And you just can't do it because I would dare say that Drew Brees has also won a fair share of Saints games. His performance has been a part of a good Saints or a great Saints win. Just got an interesting note from Miss Neek who says, Batman knows 86 forms of martial arts, but the Joker been knocking that nigga upside his head with a crowbar since 1940. I know you're going to leave me alone. Anybody that knows me know that Batman is my favorite superhero, second to Black Panther, who was mentioned, by the way, in our chat room as movie of the year, or movie of the summer. Guys, Black Panther did not drop in the summer. It did not drop in the summer. Okay? I said best movie of the summer. Best movie of the summer? To me? The Avengers. Let's see when the Avengers drop. Avengers probably gets the spring nod, right? Infinity War. When did it drop? And the summer for me is when it gets hot here in New Orleans. I ain't with all that. This is the first official day of summer. It was hot. If it's hot, look, it's summertime. Okay? Let's see what it says here. When did that movie actually drop? I know it's out via digital right now. And I do have it. I do enjoy it. My son Jaden was like, Dad, you come and watch it. I'm like, son, it's a very long movie, but I do enjoy seeing Thanos win in the end. I think that's dope. Am I still going to be allowed to put this as a movie in the summer? Probably not. April 27th. Can I count, does like May 1st count? Or can we adopt April as summertime in the South? I'm going to do that. I can do what the hell I want to do. The Avengers Infinity War was the best movie of the summer. It's hot as hell in New Orleans in April. April and May the same month to me. There's no difference in the months. None. We may get some rain, an April shower here or there, but it's hot. Okay? And it is the damn summer. All right? So, yeah, Infinity War. Okay? I'm not worried about y'all talking about May such and such, June such and such is the first official day of summer. All you people that live in New York, some of y'all that live in Chicago, some of these other places that still have cool weather, you need a jacket. In the South, in Alabama, in Florida, in Texas, and in Mississippi, in Georgia, it's hot in April. The AC, if the air conditioning is on in your crib, it's summertime. It's summertime. I'm not worried about these folks telling y'all when certain things and seasons is. It's summertime. Okay? For those who stay in L.A., like Miss Neek, okay, who don't have, central air and heat in all of their houses out there, we get it. Y'all live in Southern California, where the weather is beautiful. We get it. And y'all have y'all 2 months of summer for whatever that's worth. But that's not the reality for the majority of the country, i.e. the middle part of the country in the South, where it's hot. The Black Panther dropped in February. It's not hot. It is still cold in February. There is a difference between February and April. Black Panther dropped in Black History Month. That's not the summer. You tan yourself up. Don't even start with me. April, Easter time, Negroes is wearing short suits. It's summer. Okay? It was hot outside. So Infinity War is number one. The latest effort of the Mission Impossible series is number two. And Equalizer is number three. Those are the top three movies of the summer that I've seen. Okay? I'm not saying there are not other movies out there, but that I've seen. I didn't see The Incredibles. I was supposed to. I haven't seen it yet. I told my kids we were going to go see it. We never went and saw it. So that's on Dad. Shout out to P-Law, Phil, laughing because he know what it is. Black folk trying to claim Black Panther as a movie this summer in February. Y'all, you should be ashamed of your damn. You know better than that. I at least have logic on my side in April because your ass in the South is hot in April. Everybody's hot. Air conditioning is coming on. Ms. Nick says it was 77 degrees in L.A. on February 16 when the movie dropped. I wore shorts and a sheer shirt in L.A. again. Well, you have, that's still cool because you have no humidity, okay? L.A. is not the rest. It's not the United States. That's not encompassing of how we all live. Your weather is different. 77 degrees is not summertime. In New Orleans, we take that. That's not summertime. Now she comes back and says, it's the movie of the spring, summer, and fall. It's not. It was okay. It was okay. I like the movie. I do. But y'all, it's not as good as Infinity War. It's not. Black Panther was good. It was a good movie. It's not better than Infinity War. It's just not. It's not. Thanos, me and Miss Nick was arguing this, is a way better villain than Killmonger. Like, y'all need to stop. I'm not with that shit. Don't start. Do not start. Don't start. Killmonger was straight. Like, y'all overrating the man acting. The man walked around like a big-ass, reptile. He was straight. It was okay. But the symbolism of the movie and what it meant is much bigger than how the actual movie was written and presented as it relates to the storyline. It was okay. And I own the movie, Saw it a bunch of times. I could watch it tonight and go to sleep. I enjoyed the movie. I'm just not going to overrate the movie. Like, we can't do that. Y'all overrating the movie. It's not a good look. Like Leo says. Leo says it's overrated. I agree. Phil says it's overrated. As time has went on, we watched the movie. It's straight. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Miss Neek is reaching. As she says, Black Panther is the movie of the summer. She continues to reach. Killmonger is the GOAT. He's not the GOAT. He was straight. The storyline of Killmonger is not even accurate, by the way. See, it's a lot of cool points the movie loses. It doesn't even accurately tell you who he really is. Like, if you go and look at the comic book and understand the real story, they just made some shit up. Because the guy's from Compton, so he made the guy from... Like, it's not real. It's not cool. As Leo says, Avengers was way better. He's right. The movie, I enjoyed the Avengers every step of the way. Up to the last moment, I was figuring out how the hell they're going to let the good guys win. I don't see how they're going to win. And then when Miss Neek, who has not seen the Avengers, by the way. So let me bust her up real quick. So she's commenting in the comments. She's not seen the movie. But since you haven't seen it at this point, hey, the game over. But when you thought the good guys had won, Thanos said, no. No, sweetheart, we're not going to do that. Rewind. He rewind time. I mean, how bad of a badass superhero or bad villain, you got to be to rewind time? You were supposed to lose. Homie said, nah, we just going to, look, baby, I get it. He touched her head and everything. You had to endure some loss here. But that ain't the way. Let me take this burden off you. Bust homie head open real quick. Took that Infinity Stone. Then, homie, Thor, I like Thor. Thor is my guy. Like, there are guys that I like Thor. I like Iron Man. Hell, to be honest, Iron Man and Spider-Man, the chemistry between those two guys is phenomenal, by the way. I like to see them do a few more movies. We might not be able to have that, I won't spoil anything for y'all, but, But Thor bust a man in the chest with the hammer. Look what Thanos say. Thanos say, you should have went for the head. Gangster. You should have went for the head. Since you ain't went for the head, he snapped his fingers and it was done. Then he told him what he was going to do. He said, look, once I bring balance, I'm going to cross my legs, go back to the crib and just look at the universe and be pleased with what I've done. And the movie went off with him doing just that. I'm like, oh, man. Come on, man. For real, man. Thanos need T-shirts. He need jackets and hoodies. Thanos. The Killmonger shit was that was hype because y'all were just happy. It was straight. He's not the GOAT villain. Like, he didn't, but prior to Thanos, since we're talking comic books and movies, and Miss Neek just brought up Batman. The gentleman that played the Joker, the last guy that played the Joker, they ended up committing suicide. Killmonger didn't surpass that kid's effort in that movie. He didn't come nowhere near close. He didn't even come nowhere close. Phil says Infinity Wars had a way better story, hands down. Absolutely. It was a well put together movie. I enjoyed it. And it is the best superhero movie of the year. Since I need to make that proclamation, on air, I will do that. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy Black Panther. That doesn't mean I'm not black and I don't see the significance of the movie. All that's very important. And I love it. And it will be cherished as a classic for me forever. It's still not better than Infinity Wars. It's not. If Infinity Wars didn't drop this year, by default, it would have been the best superhero movie of the year. But it's not. It's not. Infinity Wars is. That thing was the truth. And Ms. Deeks, since you haven't seen it, you can't give us an opinion on it other than you just being biased. That's it. Leo has seen both. Phil has seen both. I have seen both. I'm pretty sure Pops, has seen both. I know Chuck has seen both. Good movie. Doesn't mean you don't like Black Panther, by the way. You know? That doesn't mean that. I think I'm going to watch Infinity Wars tonight to go to bed. I think I'm going to turn it on tonight and enjoy it. That thing was dope. Look, it's so incredible. Is the movie showing? Is the movie still showing at theaters? Like, are you kidding me? There's no way this movie's still showing in theaters. And you can now get the damn movie on DVD. Like, is it still doing that? BS3 says Black Panther is the best movie of all seasons. Don't do that, BS3. Don't do that. I know you want to come and save Miss Neek here. I know you want to come and save Miss Neek. But it's not. It's not. But it is a good movie for different reasons. For totally different reasons. The storyline was not that phenomenal. Okay? The main, as Phil says, Black Panther, high-key, kind of weak. His ass need more training. Exactly. He didn't do a lot of fighting in the movie at all. There are legitimate critiques in the movie. The scene that he fought in, I don't know if it was because of the theater I went to. I got the damn movie now on my own. It's still dark as hell. The last scene, I'm trying to be amazed by the fight scene. I'm like, this shit is dark. Like, somebody should have put a light in the room so we can actually see some fighting. It is. He couldn't even fight. The female warriors stood out more in their fighting skills than him. He had people betraying him. How you let a weak-ass villain steal your movie? And what I mean by weak-ass villain is the performance was not that incredible by Michael B. Jordan. He actually has done better acting in his career, i.e. the Rocky movie that he's in. The Creed. I actually enjoyed his performance in Creed much better. I'm an honest critic. I'm not going to just sit up here and just give somebody a bunch of props. It was a great movie in the sense that what it means, and it's in the imagery of it and how important it was to see an all-black cast, for the most part, do that, and the elegance of how sophisticated how the technology looked in Africa. All of that good stuff was beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Just not, storyline was still weak. Underdeveloped, not well thought out in my opinion in its presentation. I thought the director wanted to insert himself into the movie, and it kind of took away from, storyline. I thought it could have been better had they taken a different angle. Still a good movie, though. Still a good movie. Love Sports and Hip Hop Radio, man. This is something different. I want to make sure that you guys are caught up to date with everything. Love Sports and Hip Hop, and when the next show will be on. Doesn't mean you won't hear from me between now and then. Just that, guys, I'll tell you a little bit what's going on in my own personal, me and the missus. We have a mission. We have a tribe. We have a bunch of kiddies that we are guiding their education and planning their future step by step. They are most important assets. And so with that being said, your boy going to be heading up their homeschool. So I'll have my time during the day preoccupied by teaching these youngins how to think and be great. And so because of that, you won't be able to get me every day of the week, unfortunately. But it don't mean I won't sneak in every now and then and give you an opinion for like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I just can't promise every day to you. But what I can do is I can come bring you this show. And I can tell you exactly when the next show is going to air. 2 weeks from now, August 25th, you'll get another Love Sports and Hip Hop radio network show featuring yours truly, Geraldine, and I'll go for like almost 3 hours. And we'll talk about all of the events within the last 2 weeks and kind of get into it. Of course, I didn't get a chance to really dig into LeBron James's issue with Donald Trump. We may be able to do that between now and 12 o'clock because I will go off the air at 12 o'clock here locally. That'll be 3 hours on the dot. Okay? So we'll talk about that, his tweet to or about LeBron James and Don Lemon. We'll discuss his feelings about the anthem protest as well. We'll kind of mix that in. Still want to get just a little bit more football taken care of. And, of course, I got some more music for you. for the 2 weeks. 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Yours truly, Love Sports and Hip Hop Radio, Jalen, will be back. And in between those 2 weeks, what I'm going to give you from now on is small tidbits, little bites here and there. But if you want to hear an opinion about something that I got on top of my head or whatever, you say, look, this is going on. What's your thoughts? I'll come and chime in. But I got to educate these kids, man. It's vital to me. That's why I was very happy to see the efforts of LeBron James. How could you be a hater of him doing that? Like guys, you've heard me tease him on this show. I've ridiculed him as a basketball player. I've teased him on this show, but I've never been one to discredit his ambitions of kingdom building. And I think it's quite impressive. I did want to make sure that you were aware of the intimate details of the school. So I didn't want you to just get the initial hype story. And there's always a hype story in everything. Like this is not against LeBron in any way, shape, or form, but there's always more to the story, right? So I want you guys prepared, and I want you to understand and be well educated. Okay? So here's the real deal concerning the IPromise School and how it will be funded there in Akron, Ohio. LeBron James' announcement that he would be opening a school for at-risk students sent shockwaves through the sports world. However, and he's not the only one to have done that. David Robertson has a bunch of charter schools, and there are a lot of athletes that have that already. And, but again, with the high-profile position that LeBron has, for him to step out in front and do it, I don't care if it's like, oh, it's trendy to start a school now. Hey, look, I ain't whatever. It could be trendy to have good credit. You got good credit, like whatever. But questions begin to be raised about how exactly LeBron's IPromise School would be funded. According to the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Patrick O'Donnell, the new school will eventually cost taxpayers approximately $8 million a year. O'Donnell says the cost will be covered mostly by shifting students, teachers, and money from other schools. All right. I don't know how you feel about that. $8 million from the taxpayers. I don't live there. It's not my money. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm not going to try to sit up here and criticize, what I believe to be a good effort. No matter what the intimate details of it is, it's a good effort. Additionally, LeBron's foundation plans to spend about $2 million annually, and here's something that's in quotations, when the school has actually grown to capacity. So until the school grows to capacity, which I would think that it should be at capacity maybe once they open their doors, maybe not, who knows. But he's going to give $2 million annually. Some issues have been taken with how the media has portrayed LeBron's school and how it's being funded. On August 5th, Akron Public School District spokesman Mark Williamson said the coverage made it look like the whole thing is his. He did a lot, but taxpayers should know it's their investment too. Okay? The question then posed is, why doesn't LeBron pay for the entire school himself? As PolitiFact explains, if LeBron funded the school entirely, the school would become a private school. This would defeat the purpose of what LeBron wanted to do with the school, which is a free school that also provides kids with free uniforms, free meals, free transportation within 2 miles, free bicycles, and more. While taxpayers will be funding a good chunk of the school, it's a necessary cost. Educating at-risk students or at-risk children has been a weak spot in this country for years. Now, when LeBron is looking to turn that around, we should be grateful that he's willing to give a large sum of his earnings to make the future brighter, and we can't forget that he's also working with the University of Akron to guarantee tuition to graduates of the school. This is from CavNation.com. Again, just me. and my own perspective on all of this, I can't sit up here and argue against this brother and tear him down and question how much money is really his to be invested into this project. I'm just happy that he's making investing into his people look good, like it's a thing to do. Sometimes, we have to find the goodness in that. And whether it's 2 million, 1 million, 500,000, 100,000, to have his name associated with that public school, to take education as a priority and a meaningful cause for at-risk students. This place will also provide adult education, help for a lot of the community who doesn't have their high school degree. And, you don't have a high school degree, it's hard to get anything else going in your life. It'll have that. It's going to have a food pantry where people will be able to come in and get food if you're needing food. How could you be against this? And you know what? Congratulations as well to the people of Akron. And I think that's important. The LeBron James part of it is important. It's vital, as well as the people of Akron. And it's not to discredit. It's not to discredit LeBron. But normal, everyday people said that we're okay with spending $8 million of our tax money to do this. That's a great thing. So it shows you that, okay, here's the partnership between the celebrity and somebody who's making some good money and just normal, everyday people. Normal, everyday people can be superheroes. And so every teacher in our community that's really going in and trying to make a difference is a superhero. The people who are willing to put their money where their mouth is and invest in this is really those who also should be applauded. The community. The community signed off on this, and people are really okay with this. And LeBron used his celebrity to say, hey, look, we should all get behind this. We should all invest in this. That's a great thing. That's how it's supposed to work. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter. Like, let's get behind something of goodness and try to make a better community for us all. Let's do that. And I commend LeBron for that. Ms. Lee says schools that are completely funded by private donors is a private school. And then that no longer belongs to the district. I will have a conversation with some educators, those who are working in the public sector and those who are working in the private sector. And I want to have a really big conversation about education. It's going to be a special that I do on this network with a few friends of mine who are actually involved in education, who've seen it at the various levels, okay? And I want to discuss some things because there's some serious issues, public, private. What's the responsibility of a government, of a public, to educate its people? How far should the public go in making sure that everybody receives, quote unquote, a equal education in the public sector? Should black folk be investing in private education more? Starting their own schools, starting home schools, starting smaller schools? Should that be something, community schools? Should that be something that we demand from people that are not just like LeBron? Actually, that $2 million is probably enough to fund a small elementary school. Small means, but a small school, small private school. Should we have those? Private concepts and private thought. Should we have that? Should everything be solved? What's the balance? And obviously, you got to have public education. I'm not saying you get rid of public education, but what's the appropriate balance, and where should we be in it as it relates to a community? Black folk. Should we just trust public education? Just food for thought. So I'll share with you guys, some more on that particular topic with people who are actually involved in the industry of education on a daily basis. It's Love Sports and Hip Hop, man. I'm on late tonight. 3-hour ride, man. It's been fun. I missed y'all. I missed you. I did. So much has happened. So much I want to talk about. I haven't even gotten into Terrell Owens and his Hall of Fame speech. And I could just really quickly tell you that I'm absolutely proud of Terrell Owens and what he did. And I'll tell you my reasons why when I come back from break. 3 hours of love, sports, and hip-hop that'll hold you over for a few weeks. I'm not going anywhere. You'll still hear from me. You'll hear from me a little more on my Twitter. So if you want to follow what's going on with Jay, J-A-Y, Orleans on Twitter, and my IG, same handle, J-A-Y Orleans, okay? We'll be active on our Facebook page. I want all of you guys to send your good wishes, your good energy, your good vibes over to Miss Neek. And she's got a story of conquering and greatness to tell you. Pops, who's also an educator, I want him involved for that show. We'll pull him in on that show. The movement to smaller schools and homeschools screams that we are, as a people and government, need to take a serious look at our priorities. He's absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. I just, so I was going to go to break. I guess I can't do that now. My perspective on education has grown as I've gotten older. I had the opportunity to be educated by some very dynamic teachers who I am very grateful for giving me a lifetime thirst for knowledge. But they were assist members. Like I had a big family and in various pockets of my family, education was important. And that process of education happened not only by being introduced to textbooks, but by books that, the family said, hey, you should be reading this, you should be studying this, or here's a conversation and a concept and thought that educated individuals are going to have right in front of you. And all of those things are opportunities for learning. I believe that the education system in this country is broken. And it's been broken for a long time. It was broken when I was in it. The system really is a system that has been put in place to babysit the subservient class. If you missed the first part of today's show, we were having a discussion. And we talked about just how far black people have come as a community. And I spoke about black folk with as much money as Lebron is going to be able to put in the hands of those people in Akron. And he's doing things. And those things are necessary, and we have to build each other up. So I'm not minimizing it at all. We don't control any natural resources in this country. We don't. Not in this country, we don't. In a place where possibilities are endless, and you can make something of your life, and you can be anything you want to be according to the American dream. We've got a lot of work to do if we're going to realize that reality and making sure that we divvy up these resources adequately, because black folk have invested in these resources. We just didn't get paid appropriately. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get paid appropriately. I know a lot of y'all gave, particular presidents of the past a pass on not seeking reparations. And some of y'all are too good for reparations. You don't need it, And for those who don't want it, that's fine. Have them sign off on a document that they don't want theirs. There'll be a few of us who would love to have their portion, And if we want to reassess what these reparations should look like, I am all for one, wanting to be a part of that to make sure that the equity in such reparations would translate to something of value in today's time, okay? When it comes to technology, education, healthcare, government, energy, food, real estate, black folks, we don't control. We are a part of those industries. We are a part of those elements, but we don't control the direction of those industries. And that has to be the conversation. I understand that we have a conversation about the middle class, and I get it. And we're fighting for the right to be paid as a middle class. But the bigger conversation is and that's important. If your society does not have a well taken care of, a healthy middle class, you don't have a society. I understand the importance of that. I do. But another part of that conversation is we need black folk who do have money, who do have the means and the methods. We need them to be able to have possession of the natural resources that will allow us to control industries. Failure to have that conversation will put us in the same conversation every 30, 40, every decade. It'll be the same conversation. Y'all should be paying us more. Y'all should be paying us more. Minimum wage should be going up. Y'all should be paying us more. Take care of the middle class. Well, these conversations wouldn't be relevant if black folk, minorities, actually had a real piece of America and not just a illusion of really owning something here. So again, I'm not trying to make anybody depressed tonight. Like, gee, why would you do that? I don't mean to. I'm just being honest. Okay? And so that's the conversation that we need to have. And I think a part of that will start to develop when our kids are educated as to the power of who they are and what was actually robbed from you on some levels. The history, the essence of who you are, the power that you really possess, not just in being a worker, though there's nothing wrong with being a great worker. A man should have pride in any job that he does, and he should do it well, and he should see honoring God in doing that. So this is not a if you're not this, you're not that conversation. What I am doing is I'm bringing an appropriate balance and harmony to ownership in this country. It's important. It's important. And it's got to be done with people who actually can believe in themselves. You know what? We demand that we are part of controlling this natural resource in this industry. We demand it. We demand to have a seat at the table. Not a seat as in you're putting up with us being in the room. and not a seat that you award to one of us who's corrupted, okay? And they're going to eat off of the tree, and they're going to be okay. I always go to one of my favorite movies in The Matrix when the guy was sitting down. He was betraying Morpheus in The Matrix 1, the part one of the series, the trilogy. And he was sitting at the table. He says, look, I'm going to do your dirty work. I want to go back into the Matrix. I don't even want to remember anything. I know I'm not really eating this steak, but, hey, whatever. Like, I just want to, it's easier for me to live in that than it is to live in the reality of what really is going on. And some of us are okay with that. And then people like myself who've done enough research to realize that we have a dynamic history of ownership, development. We've been great inventors. We've built phenomenal empires. It's like Wakanda actually existed. Like it's existed before. We've had these things. Maybe not in the Star Trek type way that you saw it in the movie, but we've been the center of the world before. But that kind of conversation, that kind of education is not taught in our public schools. It's not taught. What we're presented is a Europeanized curriculum that watch, it's not a problem. Their world and their vision of the world is not a problem as it relates to teaching their people. And we should know about it, by the way. We should know about it, but it shouldn't just be our only education. And the only thing that black folk, should know or should be aware of, according to them, is that, you guys were brought here. Some of you were sold into slavery by some of your own people. They teach that now. Some of you were stolen, okay? Slavery was bad. We beat you a lot. We raped the women. It was evil. It should never ever happen, but we realized the error of our ways, and we stopped enslaving you. And we then started bombing churches and beating you, and we still raped you in the South, and we still we put up with you in the North. Like, we didn't want to necessarily hurt you, but we were quick to let you know, nigga, stay in your place, even in the North. With some of the friends of the civil rights movement who said at times to Malcolm, you want too much too fast. We just did this for you. Like, aren't you satisfied? And he had to continue to fight and create a narrative of, I am not asking for nothing that we aren't already deserving of. So the same conversation that we're having now about the guys taking you guys got it good. It's not the time or the place for that. I mean, change is going to come. It's going to come at its own pace. These same conversations have been being had for generations, if you know your history. But the Martin, The Martin Luther King that you hear about is the subservient Martin Luther King. You don't hear about the powerful king, okay? The dominant king that started to realize the real way to success in this country is to demand controlling of resources. That was the poor people's movement conversation that he was starting. This conversation was never given to me when I was in public school. Sorry. Edna Carr, West Jeff, Old Perry Walker, Wheeler, Eisenhower, Rosenwald, Havens. Those are all the schools I attended, and I never heard that from a black teacher nor a white teacher. So when you tell me that the answer for our community is the public school system, if you want to learn how to read a book and that's all you want to learn, then that is true. Now, if you want to eventually learn how to think for yourself and challenge certain thought processes, even in those public school sectors, you get a black male with an identity and with an opinion, and you watch how the system tries to put him in his place and tell him not yet, or you have a behavior issue, sit down, or we're not going to entertain that this way because we know the best way to educate you. So I'm just saying, again, a very heavy topic there, but and I'm not saying we don't need public schools. We do. Just what kind of public schools and how far can government go in establishing an initiative to teach African-American people about their culture? Or will the community actually stand up and say, guess what, we tired of just hearing one side of the world, that there's a bigger world out here, and there are a lot of contributions that were made, and maybe if our children actually learned about themselves from a global perspective, they might actually see the value in education and realize they need to take up what they need to take up and possess the land. But, it's all done for a reason. So Love Sports and Hip Hop, as always, we go all over the place. We can talk, sports, and I give you that, and then we can sit down and we can talk education. And that's the reason why I've decided to teach my children, because I don't trust anybody to give them that education but me. And so there's sacrifices that we make as a family to make sure that that's done, so that the young black men that I'm raising, Anthony, and the princess, Isaiah, and the other prince, Jason, and he's on now to high school, and we release them at a certain point where they know who they are, and they get this self-building and this love in the household of who they really are. They know who they are. But now I got to give it to the young kids, because if not, what will happen is Anthony, he's a very hyperactive kid. Jayden is also like that. And so what happens is the teachers will start telling us that this kid has a behavior problem. He talks too much. He doesn't sit down. He doesn't want to conform. He doesn't want to conform to the education that we think he should be getting. He doesn't want to read the book. He doesn't want to do the work the way that we think he should do the work. And if you're not learned and educated in the way that we think you should be educated, then something's obviously wrong with you. So, maybe we should get special classes for him, or, he's got this thing, should we give him some medication? There's help for kids like this. And some of y'all are falling for that. Some of you have no choice because the system has you so slaved that you got to go to work, right? Maybe you just need to decrease some of the things you want in life and look at what's really valuable. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. And so I'm not going to let them do that to my son, especially black males. They do it to black males a lot. He's just expressing who he is. For instance, there's this show, and I got to talk about a lot of different stuff because it's 3 hours, and I missed y'all. There's this show right now on Netflix, Last Chance U, and there's this Caucasian brother who hung around a lot of brothers. And I mean, when I tell you he used a whole lot of profanity, he does, and he goes in. And I sat back and I thought, well, I love the show. And I'm actually Facebook friends with him. Before the show even blew, we were Facebook friends, by the way. Somehow, some way. But I sat and I thought, I said, you know what? If a black man was acting like this on TV, people would go crazy. If a black man operated the way that Donald Trump is acting in office, people would go crazy. But because he's a white boy, it's masculine. It's just boys being boys. He's bold. He's patriotic. He ain't going to just take anything. He ain't going to let you just tell him anything. He's bold. Men need it. And all that stuff is true and all fine and dandy. But where is the black example of that? That's acceptable in our society. You know where it's changed and transformed that? is transformed and changed in school. Well, that same black male that wants to stand up and challenge the classroom, that wants to operate outside of the structure that the classroom is set for him, is told that something is wrong with him. And that he needs to be controlled. And then you bring his parents in and you create the narrative of, I can't tell him anything. He doesn't listen. Oh, he's a very smart kid. He's a very smart kid. He just chooses to do his work at the last minute and he passes. And not once do some of our parents sit and think, well, damn, maybe the curriculum is not challenging enough. Some of you actually do get it. But not only is it not challenging enough, maybe he doesn't value the curriculum. But we operate in fear. So in fear, we tell our child, stop acting like this because, this is the only way you're going to be able to get a job and take care of yourself. Like these people have to like you. They have to accept you. You got to look presentable. What is look presentable, by the way? How do we define what look presentable is? Is it not having natural hair? Again, what industries, what do we really control? So big conversation. I'm proud of the conversation. I'm proud to present it and have no qualms about presenting it to my audience. And I pray that not only do I inspire you to think, I inspire you to challenge and to look at things a little differently and to become a part of education organically. Like, always teach your children. Like, education is not open this book, turn to page such and such. Did you read the paragraph? I can read. I can do some basic math. And basically, you're a pretty good slave. They just found a way to make you a civilized slave. You have no independent thought. None. We can't even engage in a civil conversation of disagreements with each other in this country. And you know where that all stems from? Our public education system. The breathing grounds of the idiots that we've become. So I'm just saying. And that's why I said that some of the critics of the school and people that are making those comments, they're not wrong. I just don't want to, for lack of a better term, shit on LeBron. But they're not wrong when they say, hey, wait a minute, the beneficiaries of this, who's going to get out in front of this, what's the curriculum? Like, are you really freeing minds? Is it a glorified museum to yourself? And this is not me dissing the brother. Like, I just gave him a lot of kudos. I'm just saying that there are new levels that we have to take things. And we cannot continue to abide in these issues and these problems and be going through the same systems. Like, the systems are conditioning you to operate in the problem or to create the problem. So you need to challenge the system and be bold about it. And if the system won't change, then you have to change immediately. Tell you a movie I am looking forward to. The Hate You Gave. Can't wait to see that. I understand the narrative behind it. But I would like to see what it's going to look like for these young kids to maybe be inspired. And not only be inspired out of emotion. I want to see how young people are inspired in thought. Some of our adults still need to be inspired in thought. I just, personally, I've given up on a lot of us. We eat every day. We know that a lot of us are dying from cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. So you really don't really give a damn in the grand scheme of things. See, these kids, they don't have that awareness over their lives. So they actually look forward to a future. So that's why I really talk more about the youth and hoping that it'll get better. But they already got a lot of us already. Why make a big to-do about everything? We're overweight. We eat fast food. I know I do. I'm trying to get my health under control, trying to eat better, not because I'm trying to be 100,000 years old. Just, I'd like to see some generations come through. And so I think we all got to do better in that. I missed y'all. We're not going anywhere as a network. We're going to be adding more programming. Ms. Nick has talked about some brilliant ideas. I can't wait for her to be able to come back and tell you guys about some things that she's working on and she's going to be bringing to the network. Of course, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to continue to do what I do. We're going to be building this website where you'll get more from us as it relates to writing and columns. We're going to be inviting others to write and to contribute to the brand. I think we've done a good job in establishing an identity. Like, we have that now. You guys understand who we are. We are who we are. unapologetic. I just inspire you to think. And hopefully in thinking, you don't point the finger to somebody else. Like even when I'm talking, I'm always thinking about how can I implement some of the shit that I'm saying, even in a better way. I challenge you to do that in your life, to go out and make a difference, and to be happy in doing it. Everything is not doom and gloom. You do need to be able to see the issues, though, so that you can go out and be effective. Right, there are good people out here, and a lot of us actually can come to a common ground. We have to start having legitimate conversation. NBA released its NBA schedule this week and spoke loud and clear that we're going to watch a lot of LeBron and a lot of the Lakers this year. And I'm going to tell y'all this right now. Phil predicted that the Lakers won't make the playoffs. And, you know, I ain't mad at Phil. Like, I understand. I understand why Phil is saying that. The West is a very, very deep conference. And, like, who are they going to replace? Denver and Minnesota played a play-in game last year. Like, who are you going to replace? You know, are you excited for this upcoming NBA season? Like, are you looking forward to it? Do you think anything will be different? Do you think anybody else can win the title except Golden State? I think Houston, they have a shot, you know, and it's not because of Carmelo Anthony. I thought that last year they took steps at legitimately challenging the Warriors. They pushed it to 7 games. They had a 7-game on their floor. So they've got a shot, you know. They did lose a few pieces, but kept enough in the building while adding Carmelo Anthony, another offensive weapon. That I feel like if you implement everybody in the system, that you'll be okay. I do believe that. Pops, real quick, just shot a text. He said, hey, look, this is a gentleman that's working in the education industry. He says education in America is designed to produce workers, not thinkers. Absolutely correct. That's what the public sector, the public education system is doing. But in the NBA, you know, do the Celtics legitimately have a shot at winning the NBA title? I think that that's going to be an interesting tidbit to watch. Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, formerly of the San Antonio Spurs, now members of the Toronto Raptors, will be going to San Antonio in week 12 of the NBA season. Is that a game you're looking for? I look at his schedule. I'm like, Philadelphia at Utah. Like, so what? It's not to say that Utah's not a good incoming team. It's not saying that Philly's not. But by the time both of those teams get really good with their young players are going to want to leave because Golden State, Houston, and whatever happens next year with Kevin Durant maybe going to wherever he's going to go will shift the league. And the veterans are going to put together these teams that are cop, you know, and, you know, superpower teams, and they're going to win the title. Like, you know, I don't know. You know, how LeBron does in L.A., I guess, will be a storyline. You know, I think that'll be a storyline, of course. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, we're going to be looking forward to Golden State probably winning a third championship or a fourth championship in 5 years is what it will be, which will be, we haven't seen that kind of run since what, maybe the Lakers or the Bulls. The Bulls didn't do it like that, but, you know, Michael won 6 and 8 years, you know. So that'll kind of be the kind of run that those guys are on, a Chicago Bulls-esque, Michael Jordan-esque led Bulls dynasty type run, you know. So I understand the NBA has released their schedule, and on some level it's exciting. You know, I'm a guy who loves basketball, but, you know, we can fast forward the season all the way to the All-Star game, really probably, and play half of the season. You probably, in my opinion, could maybe very honestly start off the season with some type of all-star type event. Let's be creative for the last 5 minutes or so of the show. If you were to kind of redevelop the NBA, maybe add some excitement to it, what would you do? And I think one of the things I think that they definitely should do is I don't mind them playing an all-star type game maybe twice or an all-star type event twice. And so here's what I mean by that. I think the NBA should maybe look into the idea of doing what NASCAR has done, and they start their season off with the biggest event of the year. And it kind of gets everybody going, and you have the race for the cup after. I don't watch NASCAR, just know enough about that part to tell you about it, right? Well, what if the NBA said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Instead of having these guys pick these teams during the All-Star time, we're going to do that to start the season off. All right? And I don't know. For whatever team that wins this particular event, maybe the fans will put together a list of members of the team that they want. And you have two captains, and you have to select from this fan list of players. And you have the dunk contest, and you have all of these things. Or maybe you just have an exhibition or some type of celebration of basketball. So you have a dunk contest, but you get to invite the street basketball guys. So hear me out. So you bring those guys in, you have your three-point contest, you do all of this big-time stuff to promote basketball. Maybe you showcase the high schoolers that are coming into the All-American game or such. Maybe you do something, with a college game, maybe at the same venue or in the same city during that time. Just a celebration of basketball globally, okay? Maybe you hold this event initially in New York, you go to Chicago, you go to L.A., and that would kick off the NBA. I think that would be a big deal if they did it like that. Like you unveiled the NBA that way. And you had this game, and I don't know what you put on the line. I don't know what you put on the line in the game. I don't know if it's, I don't know. You can come up with anything to make it kind of exciting, but you let these two superstars pick the team with the players that the fans have voted that they feel like should maybe represent the NBA as a collective. And this is your first big event back in the basketball. Then at the middle part of the year, you get the All-Star game as we are traditionally known to have it. We don't miss that. And then we go forward. And I don't know if you bring in some of the European players, make it a global event, period. But that's something maybe the NBA might want to consider, as well as realignment. I think realignment is necessary. I think, changing the format in the playoffs is definitely necessary. I think that the 7-game series in the first round is way too long. That if you wanted more games, how about, and I know people are going to probably say, damn, Jay, really? You bring in more teams. But you set up one and done. So maybe everybody makes the playoffs. And you set up one and done scenarios. And the more you win, the more opportunities you get to host games until you get to the 7-game series. So you work your way from a one and done to maybe a 5-game series. And then, you can have teams on bye. And in that way, every city feels like they're a part of the NBA playoff season. And fans who buy season tickets and you want to support these teams can feel like their team still has a chance if you show up in this playoff game and it's a one-and-done environment. Who knows? They need some tweaking, but, the NBA is going to have to do something if they want to continue to develop and contend with the other mediums of media in society that may have everybody kind of, looking at other options. Hopefully, we have not been disconnected from Love Sports and Hip Hop, as we are about 5 minutes away from ending the show now. And I have a little bit of frozen pictures sitting in front of me. Hopefully that's not the case. Looks like we have some movement. If I did go away, I do apologize for going away for the time in which I did. And like Jay, you going away again? Hopefully not. And I got to realize I can't have so many tabs open. This little MacBook that iMac that I'm working on is, kind of filled up with space. We've done that. Shout out to Miss Nick who says, you're good. You ain't went nowhere. Good deal. 4 minutes to midnight. Y'all be safe for those folks who are out. Don't be out here acting crazy. You know what I'm saying? Do it right. This is episode 1 of Love Sports and Hip Hop Radio. 3 hours after a pretty extensive vacay. What was the last show? July 25th. July 25th. My producer is saying, you know what? You got to pay attention to your chat. I know. I can see it. I see it. I'm watching. I saw you say I was good. I saw. I want to thank everybody for tuning into tonight's show, adding value to tonight's show. Phil showed up, BS3, Big L, Chuck, Miss Neek, the phenomenal one. And, of course, I don't know if Pops has ever chimed in to Love Sports and Hip Hop. Definitely want to tell him thank you for doing such, and you're definitely welcome to be on. We're going to do that, though. I'm going to get Pops on here. I'm going to get him on the show. We'll do us. You guys will get a chance to see us kind of engage in debate, that we agree with each other on some things, and then we disagree with each other on a lot of things. You know? But it'll be fun to have him on and do that in the near future. NFL preseason week 2 will be underway on Thursday of this upcoming week. Pray for your team to have no major injuries. That's all you want. That's all you want. That's all you want. No major injuries. And you do want to score some points, as the Falcons were not able to score any points. They're the only team in the entire NFL that did not score any points in week 1 of the preseason. It's great being a Saints fan when you can always taunt a Falcon fan. It's a great thing. You guys be good. God is greater. I got some music for you. You ain't got to go nowhere. I'm going to take care of you. If you're on your way to the club, again, be safe. If you're on your way out to go get something to eat, you know, I know on the West Coast it's not as late. It's 10 o'clock, so you might be able to sneak and get you a little late night snack or whatever. Whatever you're getting ready to do, I'm going to take care of you, okay? I'll be back. I promise. Keep up to date with everything related Love Sports and Hip Hop by subscribing to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Love Sports Hip Hop. I'm on Twitter and on IG, which is Instagram for you old folk that don't know what that is, okay? At JAY Orleans on both. And I promise to be active over there because I know y'all going to miss me. And check this out. Every now and then during the week, I'm going to come on and just holler at you. That's what it's going to be. Jay, I'm just hollering at you. And we'll have a quick little discussion in and out. And that'll be that. Miss Nick will be back soon. She's got some dynamic stuff. She's got a journey of life and just blessings and wisdom that she's going to want to share with y'all. Be on the lookout for that. I can't wait as I get a chance to sit back and enjoy that with you guys as well. And on that note, I got to get out of here because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten. I haven't done none of that. And I'm hungry. Like I really, really, really want to just get a nice plate of food. And I know it's 12 o'clock. And I'm going to tell y'all what I'm going to eat. I'm not going to eat nothing heavy. I'm going to be responsible tonight. It's going to be a rice dish, okay? So it's not going to be nothing too crazy. It's going to be pretty cool. You're going to respect it. You're going to like it. You know, you know what? I ain't going to do that. It's too late at night. Y'all might go out there and try to get crazy and try to eat, you know, what I'm going to eat. And I ain't going to do that. But I will eat something light because I have not eaten yet, okay? I'm going to do that. Love Sports and Hip Hop is out of here. I told y'all I got y'all. We are an international brand. It's International Hip Hop Global. I'm going to share the playlist with y'all in about an hour so that you can be up to date with everything and be good to go on that. It's Love Sports and Hip Hop Radio, episode 1. Share it with your friends. Tell them it's long, but it's worth it. I love y'all, man. God is greater. See y'all in 2 weeks.
Say you go treat me well, oh. Give me good love and no be kiss and tell, oh. No be say after that wine I'm well, oh. Make you no go leave your girl for inside well. Whoa, yo, whoa, yo. Whoa.
Get my love not shown, don't be choice.
Yeah. Mr. Lover, you know say I no get wahala. Any how you like, I go do my dear, as long as it no cost palava.
Spells.
Promise say you go treat me well, oh. Give me good love and no be kiss and tell, oh. No be say after that wine I'm well, oh. Make you no go leave your girl for inside well. Woyo, woyo.
Don't be choice. This your love is sweet of paradise. Kelly, we are my same paradise. If they put you on a paralyze you. No, baby, I can't do this without you. No, my love, I can't go there without you. You fit the acid ball and lay. Me, I fit the waiting for a calendar. Make me a salmon go for your love and the matter I go ship if I break your heart now East Village, I study this your love for Freedom College. Nay, you too sweet like a young porridge. Baby, when they might take you
my baby, Jaja, my lover, I love you, Jaja. See how I love it, no be 10-10. Cause when I did with you, my baby, no regret, yeah. Bring your body, put it all on me. Boy, it's all I wanna see.
Spells.
We don't need no referee, yo. All we need is privacy. I love her. You know, say I don't get wahala. Any how you like, I go do my dear. As long as it no cost palava. Promise say you go treat me well, oh. Give me good love and no be kiss and tell. No be say after that wine I'm well, oh. Make you no go leave your girl for inside well. Woyo, woyo.
Step up onto that. Man, I'm gonna get up onto that. Man, I'm gonna get up onto that. Yeah, man, I'm gonna get wet up, stomp on that. Get up strong for that. Bust it, conk on that. What you talking about? I tell you, man, a make up song for that. Set up the nookie. She love it and she ate up the cookie. Take up the what? Wet up the pussy. I'm up to bat, all bets off, smash up your bookie. Back up the rookie, what? Prick, clap up your coffee. Big bad song for that. Big bad's onto that. Big bad's gone for that. Big man long for that. Bust it, conk him up. Big man conquer that. Buff chicks, big man's bonking that. Big whips, big man's honking that.
Bank things in the London town. Bank things in the London. Man, I got bad man in the London town. Bad man in the London. Man, I got back things in the London town. Back things in the London. Man, I got bad man ready to shut it down. Bad man ready to shut it. Say me like Infama. Man try take easy for Chihuahua. I pray you say some and me come talk, but then not do nada. Long for that. She say she chop me like go for that. She pray she hugs Baba, don't for that. Creep with me cause nobody bother. You are messing with the good father. This is a happy boy take over. Even me with the make the girls bend over. Call me Mr. Legover. Messing with the good father. Tell the soccer boy take over. If I drop in this one with Holo man, then I feel it from Niger to England. Man, I got bank things in the London town. Bank things in the London. Man, I got bad man in the London town. Bad man in the London. Man, I got bank things in the London town. Bank things in the London. Man, I got bad man ready to shut it down. Bad man ready to shut it down. Man, I got bank things in the London town. Bank things in the London. Man, I got bad man in the London town. Bad man in the London. Man, I got bank things in the London town. Bank things in the London. Man, I got bad man ready to shut it down. Bad man ready to shut it down.
Used to say them bottles. I ain't never been scared of nothing in my life, dawg. If I see it, I got it already. Gold bottles, pop them like it's 96. You never seen a brick, I pray to God my team get rich. Black bottles, pop them at your funeral. Dirty niggas with clean money, this shit is beautiful. Gold bottles, pop them like it's 96. You never seen a brick, I pray to God my team get rich.
Black bottles, pop them at your funeral. Dirty niggas with clean money, this shit is beautiful.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare.
Did a deal with Puma, but Nike, I keep 100 pair. Stopped going to Silver Spring, I found out I was wanted there. They gon' bring us so many bottles, the club gonna stare. Thinking you a dime in my section, get dubbed over here. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but called Nick my cousin. We spark it out in public, too much luck's got me stumbling. Black bottle, gold bottle, models by the dozen. But they for everybody, only cops believe in cuffing. This ain't your average life, they get excited when I come in. On top now, started just underground like Tubman. Thought you was the son, but you wasn't since your daddy left. House full of Bel-Air, kick them out like they Jazzy Jeff. Gold bottles, pop them like it's 96. You never seen a brick, I pray to God my team get rich. Black bottles, pop them at your funeral. Dirty niggas with clean money, this shit is beautiful. Gold bottles, pop them like it's 96. You never seen a brick, I pray to God my team get rich.
Black bottles, pop them at your funeral. Dirty niggas with clean money, this shit is beautiful.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare.
Your bitch still on my dick, but delete the DM. The Lamborghini's in the street and she know that it's him. My vodka rum matching the beast and it cost me 2 M's. These other niggas rapping rich when we know you pretend. I'm always running late with the money in crates. Black bottle went to women, a wonderful date. 305 in my yayo, a wonderful place. Bought the checkers to feed my bitches, them fries with a shake. Rich nigga. Got her rubbing on my chest like Justin Timberlake. Talk. Look Bel-Air across the table, all the dinner dates. Dreams. Brett Barish on the phone, he billing every day. She know Rose rockin' nice, now let it marinate.
Gold bottles, pop them like it's 96. You never seen a brick, I pray to God my team get rich. Black bottles, pop them at your funeral. Dirty niggas with clean money, this shit is beautiful. Gold bottles, pop them like it's 96. You never seen a brick, I pray to God my team get rich.
Black bottles, pop them at your funeral. Dirty niggas with clean money, this shit is beautiful.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all they do is stare.
I got my ass.
Just know what this is.
Great!
Yes, sir. I'm never standing now.
I'm made to be.
I'm never standing now. Oh. Hey, this Big Gates right here talking. Watch your mouth, no dissing me. You know we all saw it. You say I'm fake, that's your opinion, that's just y'all story. Just face the fact I was y'all blessing, but y'all ignored it. Your quest for fame had you distorted, not accepting sorry. I'm really that, the streets are vouch, the people vouch, the jailer vouch, all the niggas in the feds are vouch. We held it down while in the drought, one of my sales are vouch. I'm standing out, when it's beef, I'm never standing down. Hey, next door to Jamalo while in St. John Apartments. Couldn't afford the rent, we moved with grandma more like an orphanage. The neighborhood ain't like I said, we came from New Orleans. Had some fights, I slung some iron in Baton Rouge, you recall it. Lee Lucas doing life, he left when I was 11. Had a job I did not like and started narcotic selling. I do for me, I feed myself, for who not willing to help me. We either die or go to jail, so what the fuck could you tell me? Fully loaded Mac 11 when this pressure get applied. Got a brand new Glock 9 and I keep it by my side. Took the side of that little boy done out of hatred, no question. Draw your sword, get met with brute force, no second guessing. Up, y'all. Watch your mouth, no dissing me. You know we all saw it. You say I'm fake, that's your opinion, that's just y'all story. Just face the fact I was y'all blessing, but y'all ignored it. Your quest for fame had you distorted, not accepting sorry. I'm really that, the streets are vouch, the people vouch, the jailer vouch, all the niggas in the feds are vouch. We held it down while in the drought, one of my sales are vouch. I'm standing out, when it's beef, I'm never standing down. Yeah, time and Ray for everything he did for me, I was loyal. Got betrayed, it came a great disappointment. I thought we was under that law, but your nephew's an informant. Put the folks in my business, gotta set court appointments, gotta suit up with lawyers. Damn, this how we rockin'. They copyrighted my name and wanted $1 million. The label laughed in my face, I had to pay out my pocket. Young Money closed the door and ain't nobody want family. Travis Newman looked out, we in the park and we grinding. If you want them wholesale, just pull up and we got it. Shout out to Miss Cannon, my heart on Carolina. I put diamonds in the T.O.P. and all in the bottle. I ain't never change up, let's get that understood. I'm in that 70805, ain't no show love in my hood. I ain't never change up, let's get that understood. I'm in that 70805, ain't no show love in my hood. Watch your mouth, no dissing me. You know we all saw it. You say I'm fake, that's your opinion, that's just y'all story. Just face the fact I was y'all blessing, but y'all ignored it. Your quest for fame had you distorted, not accepting sorry. I'm really that, the streets are vouch, the people vouch, the jailer vouch, all the niggas in the feds are vouch. We held it down while in the drought, one of my sales are vouch. I'm standing out, when it's beef, I'm never standing down. Change up, let's get that understood. I'm in that 70805, and show love in my hood. Change up, let's get that understood. I'm in that 70805, and show love in my hood.